Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 116. Big old 116. My name is Patrick. I'm joined by Saif. Say hi.
Yellow.
And Steve. Say hi.
Ay caramba.
That seems racist, and we're only a minute in. That's going to be good for the rest of the episode. Say no gigante next. No, I'm kidding. Right. Well, lots of things have happened this week. Good. The best part is that none of them are gaming related, so we don't have to talk about anything topical.
Are you sure
anything
about that?
At all? Absolutely nothing. Silksong news? Any Silksong news? Silksong enjoys
Never.
There is no
Absolutely
Silk Song.
never.
There never has been and there never was.
I heard
I
there
don't know
was
coming
about
out last
that.
I heard there was one fan of Silksong who I'm not even gonna finish that joke. Right.
He took his shot and missed.
That was good for the ending. Thank you. Do we have any fun Steven stories?
They're never fun.
We always do. I can pull one out of my ass.
I mean, okay. Only
As we're not too late.
if you insist.
Well, as we're all probably well aware, actually, I'm going to make this as a question as well as a story. So I'm running my first ever half marathon, the Run Melbourne Half Marathon on Sunday. So, yep, please send money my way. What do you guys? Okay. What do you guys think should be my after run treat?
Oh, well, good. Good
Have
thing
I
you
got a
asked, Steve.
sponsorship deal for you?
Exactly. Gamer subs. Have you tried eating an entire 12-pack of Krispy Kreme?
Well, that's what I'm going to do before as a warm-up.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to get all the sugar.
I know, you beat me to it.
I'm just carb loading.
Oh, yeah. Be like Michael Scott and just eat an entire carbonara before going for a fun run.
I could imagine nothing fucking worse.
It's
I will be having
an excellent episode of The Office. One of my favorites.
I'll be having a banana and a double shot of coffee before I run. That'll give me the power to.
Sounds
to
like
do
it'll give you the
some things.
squirts.
Nope.
Yeah, but the squirts make him go faster.
It's like a little puff of jet, like that.
Yeah, it's like the orange gel in Portal 2, except it'll be red with the blood.
Red. I mean, can we not call it the squirts either? But yeah, I will definitely treat myself with a Krispy Kreme donut. There's numerous places to go near where I'll be finishing the half marathon. But in terms of like a good brunch idea, what are your guys' go-to brunches?
Ooh, I'm always a sucker. I think it's the stereotype, but I also just really enjoy it. But the old like smashed avo or poached eggs on toast. Something with toast. Something about toast and brunch goes really well.
That's the most basic fucking shit. All right, cool. What about you, Seth?
I don't really do brunch. I just go straight from
Wow,
breakfast to
man, great
lunch.
fucking conversation. Great fucking conversation.
All right, let me give you the opposite scoop. A mate of mine, competitive swimmer, at least used to be when I knew him. When he finished a swim meet, went to where'd he go first? I think he went to Subway first, got a foot long, and then went next door because all the fast food places are in like one strip. This was back in Dunedin, and then got a $5 pizza from Domino's, and then made a Subway sandwich hot dog out of the pizza.
Holy shit!
Yeah, now that was a treat, not just for him, but a treat for me to watch.
Oh man, an absolute fucking weapon.
All I'm saying is
And I thought I was a heavy specimen.
That's your gold standard, my guy.
Let me get back to you. Let's see. Let's see what I eat.
Well, good luck with that. What sort of time are you aiming for?
Preferably under 2 hours. I reckon I can do it under 2 hours. I've just got to lock in. Well, I went for like an 16 Ks last week, and I got like 120 or something. I've definitely run 20 Ks. So 21, 22, however long a half marathon is, and it's done it in less than 2 hours. Yeah. I can definitely do that in under 2 hours. It'll just be like, is it 1 hour 59:59, or is it like 1:55? Some bullshit like that. But it should be fun. Then I don't have to run for a bit. I can take some time off. Be a fat piece of shit.
Embrace the other side, like the rest of us. Cool. Wow, that took up almost exactly 5 minutes. I have a Steamcharts.
Ooh.
So, this is, I guess, brief Elden Ring update. This isn't the Steam charts, but just because it's interesting. 24-hour peak, 250k, which still pumping up serious numbers. It's gone up 2 months in a row, according to Steam charts, at least in terms of average players. See, in my head, everyone jumps on, plays Shadow of the Erdtree, and then starts to dip a little bit. But no, it's continued gaining, at least according to Steam charts. So
people heard it got patched and went back in.
The what? Oh, right, yeah, the difficulty patch. That could be part of it, actually.
Didn't finish the game.
Fuck you.
Rough.
If you didn't finish it,
I'm going in after the patch.
Day one with no patches, nah, you didn't finish the game. You reckon it might be people that are trying to like that have gotten the shits with it and like have come back after 2 weeks, like, nah, I can do it.
Just need to lock in.
It's just you just got to lock in sometimes.
They don't know about the difficulty patch, so they actually go in and thought they locked in.
And then the developer's really locked in. Yeah, maybe. Hard to say. Of course, there are also other platforms and people playing this on as well. So, Steam charts is just one piece of it. So, the Steam charts that I was actually interested in, and I actually need some help here because this might be a short Steam charts. Was there a Palworld update recently? Because I know they talked about there was a Palworld update coming, but is that out yet?
I guess. I think so.
I believe so. It is. I believe it came out last week.
Because there's been a tick up in the number of players on Palworld, because it looks like there has been an update, a patch. That's why I'm curious. So, all I want to know, 250,000 people playing Elden Ring in the last 24 hours. How many people playing Palworld last 24 hours? Just toss a number out. Could be higher, could be lower.
75,000.
75,000? Seth?
76,000.
Seth wins.
What? Damn it.
82,000 playing in a 24-hour
Oh, we were close.
Yeah, no, that was surprisingly, yeah, I was tempted to just say higher or lower, but I feel like 250k, I don't think anyone thought that Palworld was going to outpace bloody Elden Ring for an update coming out. The second one, which I think is funnier and much sadder. Did we cover this last week? Exoprimal is reaching
that was happening this news docket.
Oh, okay. Well, spoiler for second part, but Exoprimal is reaching. It's technically not being end of life. It's just reaching the end of its content roadmap, which
is very different.
Yeah,
very, very different. Like, you can all three of the Exoprimal fans can still party up and play, but like, so it'll just be a cyclical season.
You joke about that, Stephen. I want to know from 0 to 100 what the 24-hour peak of Exoprimal is.
I'll be fair to Stephen this time.
You go first.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. 47.
Oh, I thought 48. Actually, no, I changed my mind. 13.
Stephen, buddy, it was on a silver platter.
Ah, damn it.
I knew 56. He was a coward.
56 people playing Exoprimal in the last 24 hours.
That's what I said.
So you have to commit. You have to commit to the one over.
I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm sad for the game. I'm not sad enough to play it myself, but I'm sad for the game. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's at a point where I'll talk about it more in the news docket. Actually, never mind.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it. But no, I saw that and I'm like, oh man, I know that we've been doing like weekly Exoprimal check-ins, but it hurts.
Why have we been doing that? None of us have played the game.
I'm curious.
I played the beta and it was actually decent. It just came out at a really bad time and the way it handled itself was really bad.
19 people playing 26 minutes ago. 19. On the back of that, in the wide world of YouTube algorithms, have been suggested and ended up watching because it autoplayed a revisiting Anthem in 2024 video.
I don't want to talk about this. No, I'm just going to get unreasonably angry. But no, please continue.
You said that so casually. It was great. The takeaway from to be honest, I think they had a couple million subs. Did not know the channel. Cannot remember the guy's name. But his takeaway, whoever he is,
great chat.
Shout out to that guy. That's what I get for not watching it actively. But he came away from it saying that the mechanics still hold up. Like the flying still feels really good. He still really enjoyed how the mechanics played out. It's just a game that I feel like it probably is a different ballpark to Exoprimal, but just another example of like a what could have been game. And the comments were just lit up with people going like, oh man, I remember playing that with my friends back, this many years ago, or for the first X number of months, we were super into it, and like, we have like this many hours on this character and stuff, and they did really well with this, and this. And yeah, it's just another one of those what ifs, but I think Exoprimal's going to be joining that list soon.
I actually went to YouTube to search it to see if I could help you out with who the YouTuber was. Turns out there's multiple Anthem in 2024 videos that are up.
See, I'm not surprised by that. It's like one person sees it and they're like, oh, I could Skype some eyeballs with a similar video.
Grifter's got a grift.
Grifter's got a grift. Which, speaking of grifting, anyone that's watched the recent Mr. Beast video might have noticed that we aren't in it. Damn.
Oh no, we got invited. I just said no.
Yeah, lost in the mail.
Well, I don't think we should really put ourselves down. Like, we're such a bigger platform than Mr. Beast. I thought it wasn't worth that time.
Yeah, we shut him out.
Decision. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, like, he gets a couple of views. Like, I don't think he got that many views last time, but hopefully this one does.
I mean, his first video, the one that just came out, it seems like he's got like a real bright future ahead of him.
It's just good that a bunch of the other streamers
come together to help share some eyeballs.
Yeah, it's good. Hopefully he gets big. He's got some talent.
Actually, nah, there's no point in talking about the end of Mr. Beast video.
You can if you want.
Well, no, it's just funny in that I'm a reasonably large Ludwig fan who made it right to the end of the video. Didn't end up winning it. That ended up going to Jaden. But on his way out, Ludwig just...
Of fucking course Jaden won. You know what? I don't care.
Yeah. But still. But on his way out, he steals her diamond play button.
That's a Jay Schlatt moment.
Yeah, genuinely. But he like didn't say anything. There was like a whole bunch of briefcases and stuff. So he just took an empty briefcase, walked up, stole a button, stole like $1,000 in cash, and then didn't tell anyone, and then just revealed it on stream like a couple days ago after the video dropped. Absolute Jay Schlatt moment. Very funny though. Anyway, on to Ren Lounge for this week. I'm not going to ask what Seth has been up to. I'm just going to ask him the question. Do you now understand why women chose the bear?
What an interesting thing to say.
That is a very odd question. Can I get context?
No. I myself am not a woman. I'm not the best person to provide the context. I don't have the lived experience required to really delve into the psyche of why one would choose the bear. But I'm just wondering if you can approach that lived experience, perhaps with similar context or media that might share some traits with that question, if you will.
Well, you said a lot of things, but I think the thing I attributed the most with what you said was that I too am also not a woman, so I cannot begin to approach this query that you have brought to my attention.
Oh, so you're saying that you don't understand why women choose the bear? Interesting.
Yes,
He's
because...
not capable of empathy. Man moment.
Yeah. I simply bottle up all of my emotions and let it out in one burst.
Hey, nice guys like him. It's not fair to nice guys like him.
But let me pick up what Patrick is putting down. I got sick last week, so I took a couple days off work, and with those couple days off work, I watched The Bear.
You could have just opened with, I watched The Bear last week.
No, because I feel like my voice is raspy enough that I should give that context.
There's 2 seconds of, let me give context to what Patrick's talking about. I got sick last week. Where is this going?
You don't know the urban legend of bears making people sick?
I'm just thinking like there's a bear shit in the woods, there's a bear spit in your mouth, but we're gonna just drop that thread and move on.
Kami would.
Yogi Bear really wants his picnic basket. But that's cool. I'm sure we'll get into that. I did know about this ahead of time. That wasn't just a random out of the blue question for Seth. Anything else though? I'm sure we'll get into the bear. But anything else notable?
Things I won't touch on. But I also watched both National Treasure movies and a Goofy movie.
See, to me, a Goofy movie is just a movie.
You can't make that joke because it was made in the group chat and you didn't get it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it in front of our live studio audience.
He's been
practicing
practicing this in front of the mirror for hours.
Very funny.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Seth. I guess to Steve. Do you understand why women choose the bear? what are you up to other than running?
9 out of 10 dentists recommend the bear.
What a weird thing to say. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because I have nothing better to do than to watch cutscenes.
That's a game that came out recently.
2 years ago, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, look, in my defense, it did go on sale when I got it, but it was a Nintendo sale, so it's only 15% off. And I got the DLC for $15 off, so that was pretty much like a third off. Not that I played the DLC yet. I'm 60 hours into the game, so in terms of...
so you don't know about the Blowjob Brothers yet?
He's barely through the tutorial, Seth. Leave him alone.
Don't even... Like, it gave me a tutorial message like 10 hours, like when I got this new character join my party, and I'm like, I've known about this. You just didn't tell me about it, but now it forced me to... Whatever. I'm 60 hours into it. It could be over in 3 minutes. It could be over in 3 years. The story feels like it's in its final act, but there's a lot of cutscenes to go through. But I will say, I'm being very negative.
Fantasy 14.
Oh, God dang it, he started. At least this is a fucking video game. It's just a very long game. A lot of things you could probably cut out. Hey, let's deal with that when we deal with it.
We'll get there. That is.
What have you been up to, big fella?
I have not been up to very much. I'm trying to think. I did the like. Let me just quickly flick through what's installed on Steam and just pop up a couple games open quickly. So like played a couple games of Balatro, played a couple rounds of Deep Rock Survivors. I think only notable thing. Monster Hunter Now has its first upcoming like actual proper in-game event thing this weekend, which I'm reasonably excited for. I say reasonably in that I'm actually very excited for, but the forecast is looking ass. And Monster Hunter Now is a game that you kind of need to be outside to play, so not looking forward to that side of it. But they are bringing in Nightshade Palomu is the main draw for this one, and it's part of this update because we're into Season 2 now. Mizitsune is kicking around somewhere, but not introduced yet. I don't think that's showing up this weekend, but that's not too far behind. But no, it should be fun. So I think, because it could have just been someone spoofing, but I think there is someone near my work who isn't. If I say
it's someone spoofing,
part of me kind of hopes it is, but they I believe have spent a fair bit of money on the game. However, they are also the highest rank I've seen, and you cannot pay to win to get those ranks. So they've also just played the game a ton, like way more than me, and I'm of the people I know play it the most. So that's been interesting. Of like you look at each other's guild cards, and here I am thinking like, oh yeah, I'm reasonably high level and not spoofing, and then that person enters and like. There's a difference between someone that rocks up with. I was trying to think of a RuneScape reference for some reason, like Mithril armor versus like Runite armor. Like you really feel the difference. Something 5 gum. Anyway, we'll see if we wind up in the similar parties this weekend, and if I do happen to be playing at network and they join a party, then I'll know that they probably aren't spoofing, or if they are spoofing, they're spoofing in the same spot.
You should wear like a sign or something that says playing Monster Hunter Now. Because when I was playing Pokemon Go and I was walking, but I was like Sydney, which is a big city, and it's Pokemon Go, which is a bigger game. I could definitely tell when they're like who was playing, like who was in a raid with me. We'd kind of like lock eyes and like you do the head nod, but like nothing was said because we're both in our business attire and
because you're both locked in.
We're all locked in and we'd rather roll over and die than let any of the normie people at work know that we're using our lunch break to play Pokemon Go.
But you see, I think I talked about this last time, but like that's the opposite experience in that I've done many raids in Monster Hunter Now, and I've never seen another person, in New Zealand at least, playing Monster Hunter Now. Tons of people when I was over in Japan, like even like, you know, sitting in a line waiting for a restaurant, people playing Monster Hunter Now. But
oh my god, you went to Japan?
I did. Let me just side tangent that for like the next 3 hours. But yeah, that's probably the only really interesting update from my side. There might have been something else, but kind of been too important. Yeah, wish me luck. But why don't we get Xenoblade out of the way? Because you know, we want to put the most recent thing first, and I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out, you know, much more recently than The Bear Season 3. Well, technically The Bear Season 1 came out a while ago. So anyway, Xenoblade.
Yeah. So Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a game that came out in 2022. I remember when it came out, as I'm sure both you do, that it kind of was in like categories for like Game of the Year and like the best type of game of the time. Didn't really win anything because 2022 was like kind of a bit of a stacked year. And it's kind of because I will use the J word, and it is a big JRPG type of game, as I said before. And it's kind of one of those games where it's like, it's not that it's hard to follow along, but it's overcomplicates itself, and there's really no need to. Like it's got a lot of mechanics in it that just add a lot of bloat to the game, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. So let's get so realistically, the story starts. There are these two factions that have been at war since like the dawn of time, Kevinus and Agnes, and they just kind of fight, and that's pretty much as much context as you need. All the soldiers that fight, they've got term limits of 10 years. So essentially, the soldiers live for 10 years and they kind of die, and their life force goes pretty much back to the queen that rules over the area, and then the cycle kind of repeats. But they're forced to kind of keep fighting because they've got these flame clocks in their eyes, which means they've got, for every kill they get, kind of regenerates them. I don't know. It sounds a lot cooler than it is. But yeah, anyway, so then your party of 3 meets this other party of 3 from the rival kind of kingdom, and then you fight, and then this old guy comes in, and they're like, who's this old guy? Because don't forget, they really only live like 10 years, and it seems like it's between the ages of like 13 to 23. And then this 6-year-old guy with all these wrinkles, they're like, what the fuck? Has this guy been in the pool for so long? And then he awakens their power to Ouroboros, which means they're kind of disconnected from the normal flow, and it's like, well, because you're disconnected, you better just bring apart the whole system. And it's like, yeah, all right, we'll do that. And that's pretty much go on your way, all the best. And as you kind of go, you pick up different colonies and make a lot of merry friends along the way. I can't summarize the story. It's a good story, I'll give it that. It is a very good story. The voice acting is fantastic. There's a mixture of like full CG cutscenes that play out. There's like sort of in-engine voiced cutscenes, and then there's just like text box type of cutscenes that are just usually for dumb side quests that you can literally skip and nothing of value is lost. It's just extra world building and fluff. The story is a bit overwhelming at times, and especially with some of the side quests, that it kind of is like a who really cares type of thing. And if you really kind of think about it any further, it doesn't really start to make sense. But the main quest, while a bit of like extra padding that it doesn't really need, is pretty interesting, and the characters are pretty likable, even if they do fall for the common dialogue tropes where it's like they're saying the same thing like 3 or 4 times just to kind of pad out the cutscene. But the cutscenes are very cool. There's a lot of emotion. The charge is actual like fighting in it. There's big scale things. And every time I'm watching one of the cutscenes or into the combat where I'll get to later, I still have to remind myself that this is a fucking Switch game. And I can't, I know I shouldn't do it, but I will. I cannot help compare the open world of this game to the open world of Scarlet and Violet, which came out the same year, don't forget. Scarlet and Violet came out 6 months later. And the actual, this game is a gorgeous game. It does reuse a lot of the same assets for its enemies. I've probably only seen 15 or 20 different enemies. They change colors as they level up and stuff. or they get bigger if it's like a boss type of enemy, and there is no real difference with that. But like it's gorgeous. Like there's no real frame rate drops. The landscape and the vista is like grand. There's none of that bullshit. Oh, look, there's a flying bird over there and it's running at 2 frames a second. It kind of like runs very smoothly. And it's very impressive. I don't know what, just like with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, I don't know what magic they've done to get this to run on the Switch, what they've done. But it's
to help you with that mystery, these developers also helped with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Is it Monolith Soft? The Monolith Soft magic.
Yeah, I think it's Monolith Soft.
And that makes a fucking lot of sense now that you've said it. But in terms of the actual gameplay, it's very complicated in a way that it's one of those things. It's like very brain dead to play, but there's a lot of like it's like an iceberg. There's a lot of stuff that's on the surface level, and you can scale the surface level, and it's fine. You can get through the main story type of stuff. If you get stuck, you can probably overlevel yourself a bit, which will take not that long.
Is it still like Xenoblade 1 where it's very MMO-y type of combat where you got like your positionals, it's auto-attacking and everything, and you just got to like try and keep on top of using your skills properly?
Kind of, but it's kind of... so have you guys played Xenoblade... I'm assuming you have played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, have you, Seth?
Yeah, I've only played Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you haven't, Pat.
True. I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I picked it up in a Boxing Day sale many, many years ago. I just have not had the spare 100 hours to really get into it. Although a lot of people have said that I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's a very good game. I think you'd like it. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 it's kind of the same mechanics, but they've got like weird blades. That's essentially a weird gacha game to
Xenoblades?
Ooh, hang on. No. They're just called blades.
Missed opportunity.
Close, but but I think they knew that they were going for. But with this, it is kind of more back to the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 route, where it's a little bit of positioning in the sense of some skills only work in certain positions. But it's kind of a weird class-based system. So you've got attackers, healers, and defenders. Defenders draw aggro, healers heal, and attackers attack. Fucking big surprise, big shock. But the characters can change class at any time. So for example, like they can change class with pretty much anybody, and there are guest characters known as heroes that kind of become the 7th member of your party that kind of hang out with you and have a different, and they have like unique classes in the sense that like every class is unique, but each hero has a main party member, because there's 6 main party members, has a sort of an affinity with one of the main party members, and then that main party member can use that hero class, and then the more that party member uses the hero class, it kind of spreads out to the rest of the main party members, and then they can eventually use the hero class as well. But each hero class has a different affinity with each of the main characters, like between S through to D, like S being the best, D being the worst. So you don't want to give all heroes to all 6 party members, if that makes sense. It's very kind of confusing to explain and see on a page, but it kind of drip feeds it to you in a kind of small type of way. Like the more you use those hero classes or different classes, the more it levels up, and it caps out at level 10 until you do like a side quest, and then it's a limit break until level 20. And the more you level up with it, you kind of inherit different skills and abilities from that different hero class, and then you can kind of swap out your kind of sub skills that you've got that are kind of spares with the different ones you've leveled up. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but it is pretty simple, and it drip feeds it to you over the course of 3, or as in like 3 hours, one thing happens, 3 hours, another thing happens. So it's by the time you've mastered a certain one, by another. But not that the combat's too hard. I think I'm just playing on the normal difficulty. There are kind of these sort of chain things you can do, whereas you'll inflict a break status, and break becomes topple becomes daze becomes like launch, and you can do a certain amount of damage through that. And that kind of sort of accelerates the fighting. But not that it gets complicated, but the boss fights in this take like 20 to 30 minutes. Like it is bloat to the fucking extreme, to the point where it's like I will literally have my phone in one hand, just doom scrolling while I'm just waiting for this fight to finish.
Wait, not playing Subway Surfers?
No, I'm not. I'm Family Guy funniest moments on the top of the screen, and then it's just going through Twitter, now known as X.
Yeah, if he was playing this weekend, he was very much glued to Twitter, now known as X, just to see what was going on.
It's all the same fucking dumb memes. So sick of it. I want to be talking about something else. Maybe I should have fucking played Jetpack Joyride. It would have been a lot more easier on the brain. But anyway, so it's like, and some of these big bosses, like it's not like as if they don't need to be watched. Like maybe because you can switch between the 6 main characters in your party, like pretty much at will. And pretty much the only thing you might need to pay a little bit more attention to is if you're playing the healer class to make sure kind of everything's healed, or if you're playing one of the attacker classes that is more positional focused. But even then it's like take 2 steps. So you'll like side on, use a skill, and then kind of go back to the front, because the defenders will put up a lot of buffs that you kind of need. The buffs are kind of like AoE buffs, so you need to be in the area. It's kind of like it's every time I have one of those big boss fights, I kind of like just get the shits with it, because it's like, yep, cool. All right. Like it's not like as if I need to dodge or anything. I'm kind of just standing here. There's like, it auto attacks, and then I'll use my skills by like pressing X after it's charged up after like 30 seconds. Like it isn't like it's a grand spectacle. I appreciate the grand spectacle, but it's like, okay, like it's been 25 minutes. I'm done. Like it's
overstays its welcome.
It overstays its welcome, and it's to the point where it's like I'm like, just because I've done a couple of side quests and stuff, I'm like 4 or 5 levels over these bosses, like, and I'm still being 25, 30 minutes. Like what are we doing here? Like if I was 5 levels lower, would it be taking 35, 40 minutes? Or is it a problem with, because you've got like these sort of side gems you can equip? Is it that I haven't optimized that? But like, I don't think it's that either, because the bosses aren't doing that much damage. Nothing that I can't like kind of just, well, the NPCs kind of heal me up, and there's no real drama for it. Like
it's probably like a floor on a roof that you can hit with the boss. So like, no matter what, if you're within a certain range and above a certain range, you're not going to do too much damage, and it's not going to do too much to you. So it takes like the amount of time the devs intended, which is probably like that 25, 30. So even if you were like 5 levels under, you'd probably still hit around maybe roughly the same time, maybe a little bit longer, but that you'd be hitting like a floor, so you're not being punished too hard.
But I don't know. It just seems like a bit of a waste of time. Like it is. Like I reckon if the battles will like when you're in like the overworld and you sort of encounter like a rare enemy because it's shining and it gives you like better kind of drops because there's this weird collectible thing as part of the game. When you're fighting those enemies and they're done in like 30 seconds a minute, fantastic. You can usually get like a full rotation of all your skills and you see them all and it's cool. That was good. Done. Let's move on. Like it just those boss fights really kind of take you out. And it's kind of like I'll try to lock in for like an hour and a half play session and I'll boot up the game and I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm just before a boss fight. All right, cool. So I can't even really play. Well, I'm playing the game, but it's like, ugh. And then after you beat a boss, it's usually like another 20 minutes of cutscene. So it's like, cool. And I don't know. I get the feeling I'm negging this game a lot more, which I seem to be doing, like negging a lot of games. But I think it's just the game's got so much potential to be a lot better. And it's just these sort of nitpicking type of things. Like the combat is really fun and it is really cool, even if it is brain dead. It just goes for too long. And the cutscenes are really good and they're really flash and there's a lot of like emotion and heart and there's a lot of character development. The voice acting's fantastic. The background music's fantastic. And the message they're trying to say is fantastic as well. But it's like, sometimes I'll watch a cutscene and I'm like, oh, like I didn't need to see that. Like you could cut that out. Like doesn't affect anything. It's just yapping, which I'm partial to. But at the same time, it's kind of like yeah, all right. And then sometimes, hang on, I'm going on a big tangent here. Like with some of the side quests, some of the side quests will feel a bit more grander than what they need to be. As in, like, the stakes will be really high, but they're only high inside of this side quest. So, like, for example, the side quest I did yesterday, you're in this colony which is sort of like a city, for lack of a better word. And they're kind of like lost their memory and they don't know why they're supposed to be there, but they don't know where their flame clock is and they're all kind of confused. And then like nobody references anything external. All the main characters are like, oh, while we're here, we better help them. And then like the colony Mew guys are like, yeah, cool. Why are you here? Can you help us? And you couldn't finish it and then kind of nothing really changes. And that was an hour of like back and forth and half an hour of that as a boss fight. I don't know. It just feels like it's a bit of padding in a game that doesn't need padding. Like the game's already long enough. You don't need these side quests, or they could be implemented in a way that's a lot less. Yeah, I don't know. The more I think about it, it's good that the side quests are there, and if you want to get involved in the world, and it is world building, but it doesn't change anything that you do them. You get like a new hero character. Congratulations. They're all dog shit because the main characters classes are better anyway. Ugh. But I'm still enjoying it. Like it's just too long. Like, and maybe this is just because I'm as a wage slave and I've got stuff to do, things to do. I can't really. It's kind of hard to recommend a game like this unless you're like it's the only game you're playing, or if like you can lock in.
That's exactly why I haven't started number 2.
Yeah, and the more I say it, the more it's like overwhelming. And like people like you, Pat, hear it, and you've got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and you know that's a bajillion hour game, and it's like, shit, I don't feel like getting involved in that. But it is, it is maximum cozy. Like I'll put the Switch next to the bed. I'll wake up early on the weekend, or like I'll wake up on the weekend, and I'll play the Switch in bed while it's cold outside, and it's fucking fantastic. Or I play it as I'm going to sleep, and it's fucking fantastic. It's great for that kind of stuff. But it's like if I had more activity, or even if I had more activities, I'd probably have less and less time for it. Like I've got the right amount of time for it now, but it is still a fantastic game. I cannot recommend it highly enough. You just got to know that just like the Persona series, just like a bunch of other role-playing games that come out of Japan, you're in it for the long haul. And it does kind of drag you along in there, but you've got to kind of invest the time to get it in. Like you can't play it for like an hour, wait a couple of days, and come back to it. You kind of got to be doing like half an hour every day just to kind of go along with just to kind of get invested. Like if you treat it like a TV show and play an hour every day, you'd probably have a lot more time with it, a lot more fun with it. But I do love it. It's very good. 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
apparently the DLC's. No, sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say it's interesting in that it's similar to the conversation that we had about Monster Hunter Stories 2, in that I feel like I've gotten a lot of what I enjoy out of the game already. And then I talk to you and you're like, oh yeah, you're like nearly halfway. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's good. Like I've enjoyed what I played, but I also don't know that I get enough out of the next probably 50 to 100 hours of playing it to justify the time sink, given that I've already played and enjoyed what I have already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of, not that it's the problem. It's just, I kind of know where the story's going to go. Like it's not that it's predictable, but it's like, yeah, all right, kind of just padding some things out here. Like they're telling the full story and I'm enjoying the full story, but it's like rip out half the pages and we got a video game here.
Yeah. And then I say that and then I go and, spend another however many hours in a game like Monster Hunter, which has no story and the same gameplay loop, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But I think it's just the biggest problem for me is that the combat is like boring. Like I wouldn't mind the cutscenes going for a long time, the story going for a long time, if the combat was more engaging, or if it was just a bit more shortened. And that's definitely the you know what, maybe an 8 out of 10 I'll probably give it. The more I think about it, like it's the game part of it, and I think the less time that I've got, the more I appreciate like if something's fun to play, and it is fun to run around the world. The combat is fun for like 10 minutes, and then it's like, yeah, right, I'm done. Like we've done it. What are we doing here? You know what? You're right, Pat. 8 out of 10.
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
What would you give 2 though, relative to 3?
I think 2's a strong 9. Like it does something a bit different. Like, yeah, does it? I can't really remember. I think the combat's a bit more faster paced, and it doesn't have that padding in the combat. So the combat is a bit more shorter than what it is.
It also has the most ultra Giga Chad main character in the entire franchise.
You don't know he's a Giga Chad until the DLC of 3.
No, you know in 2 as well. The code of conduct he holds himself to.
I can't even remember that. I just remember he's fucking annoying as balls. Fucking Rex. Piece of shit. Go play Xenoblade 2, Pat. I highly recommend it.
You know what?
But he needs to play Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade X first.
Nope, you don't need to. They all stand by themselves. Apparently, the DLC for number 3 brings it all together, but usually it's a whole different world. When are they going to redo Xenoblade Chronicles X? Man, that just banished to the Wii U.
Yeah, that and Star Fox Zero are both banished to the Wii U forever.
We don't care about Star Fox Zero.
I do.
Probably for the best. Yeah, well, you and who else?
Let me get back to you on that one. I'll find at least one other person.
But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Very good.
All right, well, thank you for that, Steve. Are we getting into the bear?
Raaar.
Bear go Raaar.
1 count of being a bear, and then 1 count of being an accessory to being a bear.
Yeah, that's always such a good joke.
But yeah, I'm ready to bear.
Bear it all? Bear arms?
Ooh, hang on.
Yes, those 2 in particular.
just those 2. All right, so you went, and I think we can safely say that you binged 3 seasons of The Bear.
Yeah, essentially, I binged them one at a time, but like each day back to back. So
yeah, because I just, like, for context, that's sort of what I did when I watched The Bear, because season 2, I can't remember if it was that season 2 had just come out or was coming out, and so I got told, oh man, season 1's so good, you should watch that because season 2's coming out, and so that's basically what I did. I think mine was over 2 weeks, perhaps, or over a week, but there was definitely a bit more of a break between 1 and 2, but I saw them very close together.
Yeah.
But all of 1, I have this thing with binging things in that I'll put it on in the background, like on a second screen while I do something, which is unhinged to a lot of people. Understand that, but
very unhinged. Every time
I can't do that for something that's new to me. I can do it for something that I've already seen.
See, for me, it's almost like an ADHD reflex of, if it's engaging enough, I can't focus on the thing that I'm doing on the other screen, and I'm just watching the show. And so this becomes my metric for how much I enjoyed the different seasons of The Bear, with how much I couldn't do anything else while watching season 1 versus I was able to watch or do other things while watching parts of season 2.
You know what? That's kind of a funny and really good barometer of quality.
I mean, is, yeah. Last of Us watched more actively. Invincible watched more actively. Haunting of Hill House. I keep talking about it that it's my favorite piece of horror media ever, and it still definitely is. But started watching that show because like that show was funny in that watched it on TV. Put an episode on the TV because smart TVs and Netflix and shit. But didn't really get into the first episode. Came back and then came back to it later. Put it on the second screen and went, I'm not really going to actively watch it because I already know what's going on. I just didn't really get into it, so it was kind of hard to watch on the second screen a second time anyway. And then from like episode 3, just glued to the screen. Just could not do anything else. So yeah, it's a barometer. It's very easy to game that barometer with just flashy lights, colors, but something like The Boys. Actually, shoot, I probably could have touched on that in Round the Large. I've been watching The Boys. I know that you're waiting for it all to come out, Stephen. I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just giving context for my barometer of quality. Something like The Boys, which is very flashy, ooh, look at me, is a counterexample to, like, there are parts that I do actively watch it, and there are parts that I'll watch something, and because it's always quite like, what's the word, like zany, like something will happen very quickly that a couple times I might have to just rewind like 10 seconds of the episode to be like, what the fuck did I miss? But anyway, the bear. We'll get to The Boys once you watch it, Steve, or at least once the full season's finished.
Yeah, so my backstory for it is that, I got sick and I was like, I'm too sick to play something. I don't want to just...
all these bad shows on TV, am I right, fellas?
I don't want to just lay in bed and like sleep the day away. I'm going to get up and like watch something that I like, just watch anything really, like movie, TV show, whatever.
I'm going to put something on that gives everyone that watches it anxiety.
And yeah, so I loaded up Disney Plus, and right there it was like The Bear. It was one of the first things on the feature tab, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, sure, it's time.
Go on then.
So I chucked on The Bear, and for like the length of the first season, I was just glued to my chair watching it. And
yeah,
like just from minute one, this show is captivating. And I really enjoyed this. Like, okay, slight spoilers. I'm just going to give like the premise of each season as I'm going through, and then maybe touch a little bit, but I'm not going to try and spoil too much about what goes on later, but just like premise spoilers and maybe a couple of details here and there. So the first season is like, Kami is this like world famous chef, and his brothers passed away. So he's essentially taken over his sandwich shop in Chicago, and it's just like a beef sandwich shop. Chicago. But like during lunchtime they're just doing beef sandwiches, and at dinner time they're doing like like diner sort of restaurant meals, like spaghettis and all that sort of thing, steaks, the work sort of thing. And they're having a tough time with it because he's like in debt, like $300K in debt to his uncle for this restaurant. And so like the majority of the season is just him fighting an uphill battle of trying to make this whole thing work, trying to get like all the shoddy equipment fixed if he can, trying to work off the debt to his uncle. And it's super anxiety driven, super intense stuff. All the chefs are like shitty to the new chef that comes in, Sydney. She comes in because she really respects Kami and wants to help elevate the restaurant. And every other chef in there is like, no, fuck this bitch, until she ends up winning their respect. And yeah, really, really fantastic show. I don't know what to say other than working in a kitchen for a little bit, not even like a super high class kitchen. It was just like a family diner sort of place. This tracks for how those kitchens can get. And I relive some anxiety watching this show, but it was so good to see it, and also a good reminder of why I do not like the hospitality business. And yeah, it all just kind of comes to a head until like everything crashes at the end, and then like it's just a big nightmare scenario before the end of season happens. And yeah, if this was just like the one season of The Bear, perfect show. Would have been just like fantastic one season show, left the mark on TV, fantastic. But knowing there's more seasons, I was like still open to it, still open to seeing where they'd go.
And then talk me through it, because I'm sitting here with like a it's not an I told you so, because it's not about like a one-up thing, but it's just I feel like it's very rare that I watch something and have such a similar take to someone else who also watches this thing. And from the little bits that we've talked about this before now, it seems like your take on it is very close to mine. And so I'm just sitting here kind of like hopping up and down like, yes, say more words.
Yeah, I don't think it's like 1-to-1 your opinion, but like very, very similar. So yeah, season 2 comes along, and it's hard to say the premise of this season without spoiling season 1, but essentially the restaurant is going to get a makeover. They're going to go even further in debt to his uncle, but they've convinced him to give the restaurant a full makeover. And right off the bat, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Like, in all of season 1, they're talking about like making the restaurant better, and like from my point of view, I thought of that like, yeah, they can, like, the restaurant is kind of shitty, but they can work to make it a better place for everyone that works there. Like, it's kind of run down. They just need to like give it a makeover sort of thing, bring it back up to snuff. But no, they do like a full replacement. They want to make this like an actual fine dining restaurant, and I'm like,
they didn't go for the remake. They wouldn't go for the remaster. They went for the remake.
Yeah, not even a remake. This is just like a full-on replacement, and
a full-on Mirror's Edge Catalyst level.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's interesting, but also at the same time, it feels like it loses the soul of what the beef was, like the original restaurant. And this is just like, this is no longer respecting his brother's restaurant. This is Kami making his mark on Chicago now.
So there's that side of it. For me, the pacing was so good through season 1 of just got to keep your head above water, like gotta go, which I just sort of relate to because that's just kind of how I live life.
Yeah.
For better or worse. But then season 2, when they announced they're going to remodel it, it just takes so much of the wind out of the sails, because now it's like, okay, I get there are deadlines and things that they have to hit, but they are now so far in the distance that they are not inconsequential, but they don't have the same, like, it feels like they're safe. And I feel like I really enjoyed season 1 because they never could feel like they were safe. And that drove a lot of their decision making. And now they got to a point where they are safe. And yes, you know, we get to explore the characters and other things, but it removes the driving. I think I talked about it in terms of like the side questing thing. It felt like when you give them too much safety, like, okay, you know, we have a bunch of money secured from the uncle, we're going to remodel the restaurant, that we can now go side questing. And here's me watching it going, no, guys, the main quest was so good. Continue with the story.
I kind of like it in the fact that I feel like there's still that little bit of dread there, because every episode starts with a and I think this is neat. It's like so many weeks until the new restaurant opens, because they have to rush up the deadline. So they're like, every second of what we're doing has to matter towards this restaurant. Every second of our lives, we have to make this work. And I think it's really neat that every episode starts with like so many weeks, and then like the next episode is like it's 1 week sooner, or then they jump like it's 2 weeks sooner. So like a bunch of time has passed, and then there's the episode in the middle of the season where we flash back to Kami's family Christmas dinner, and it feels like it has nothing to do with the season until you get later on, and they're like, no, actually, this restaurant does tie into that episode that was in the middle of the season. But I think it was also really cute how at the beginning of that episode, it's like they take that so many weeks restaurant message and elongate it. So it's like, oh no, now this is like 72, like this is like 36 months before launch or something. It was something like ridiculous to go to, yeah, like this is a few years back now.
Yeah, massive time jump in the past.
But yeah, and that episode is super fucking tense. Like, so much is happening in that episode. It's like, it's all of the tension from the first season distilled into like an hour of TV. And then there was.
I'm curious just on this episode, because this episode holds a special place in my heart. One, I relate to it way more than I think is healthy. but
two, definitely.
But two, I'm curious what your thoughts are, because the first time I saw it, I was almost distracted by how many cameos there were. That, yes, there's a lot going on, but a lot of what was going on is also just, oh, and this person's here, and this person's here, and this person's here, and this person's here. And it feels like a weird critique, but I'd almost wish, because I think I might have recognized Jeremy Allen White, the guy who plays Kami, the main guy, from something, but the rest of the cast, to me at least, fairly unknown. That now, in this episode, it's like, oh, I know like 90% of the people in this scene. That it kind of throws me, which I think is the point, but I wonder if I would have been able to more easily digest how crazy everything was if I also didn't know the actors as well as I do. If that makes any sense.
I think yeah, you're making sense of that. The only one that hit me was Bob Odenkirk as Uncle Lee, because
Bob Odenkirk's in this. All right.
Yeah, he is.
Because at the end of season 1, they showed that John Berthol was Michael, his brother. So I was already kicks with that one, and I didn't even realize that like Donna looked familiar to me. I didn't realize it was Jamie Lee Curtis until I've looked at this IMDb page.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just Bob Odenkirk that was like the one that made me go, oh, he's in this. Yeah, so I didn't get hit with that as badly as it seems like you did.
Oh, okay, because for me it was like, oh shit, Bob's in this. I knew Jamie Lee Curtis.
Better Call Saul.
Yeah. Genuinely though, but it's well that and Nobody, and so it's just like I don't know. I'm just on like I'm just on like a hot streak of just seeing him in like random places, and it's also got the girl from Community who I knew her name at like every point until trying to think of it now. I want to say Alison Brie, but it's not. It's the other one.
Brie Allison.
What?
You've said this right after I've closed the page. It's Gillian Jacobs. She played Tiffany.
Yes. Her, and then
I said, what about?
And then also the comedian from Chicago. Why am I not remembering any people's names? John
Mulaney?
Yes, thank you. Oh, that hurts. And yeah, and so it's seeing kind of like I get, cameos for cameo's sake, but it seemed like all of these were cameos that it just kind of hit me all at once. And so literally as I'm just trying to remember their names now, that's me watching this going, that person's familiar. Where are they familiar? And so it takes you out of what you're watching them in. It's like watching Draco Malfoy appear in something that isn't Harry Potter, and you're like, like that. I know you're trying to play this other character, but like I know you from this other thing that is the box that you are this character of in my head. And so the fact that we'd already seen Joel McHale in The Bear, and now Gillian Jacobs, it's like, okay, where are the other two? Let's get the whole cast. We got to put the Community band back together. Where are they all? Similarly, because I think it comes up before that episode, but Will, what's his face, the British guy, the pastry chef in The Bear, he's kind of a celebrity cameo type role.
Yeah, he played Adam Warlock in the latest Guardians movie. I've forgotten his name though.
Will Poulter. Don't know why I remember his name so much better. And also the head chef at the place where Richie does his like secondment thing. The elderly British actress who I also really like, Margaret or something. I can't remember her name. But the point is, the point is, there are so many people who I know from other things in this that it is hard to watch this without. It's hard to divorce those two. Very easy to do that in season 1, and you're like, oh, this person's in this, and it's like the odd person. But here it's like putting the A team in there of just like, oh, here are all these people that you know from things, and then it makes it really hard to focus on the story because so much of me watching it is me kind of being reminded of other things that these people have done, and it's this weird like brain loop sticking point, at least for me watching it. But episode, I think that's episode 7. It's called Seven Fishes, I think. I don't remember which episode number it is, but that episode is crazy good. Like just anything, television, media, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that episode's fantastic. Like one of my favorites for that season, I think. I also really liked episode 7, Forks, which was Richie learning how to starge.
Yes, yeah. The head chef at that place is what I'm trying to think. Is what I'm trying to think of.
Yeah. God, I had it up a second ago, and then I got rid of it because you were like, oh no, I've moved on now. Give me 1 second.
Olivia, someone I'm pretty sure.
Olivia Colman.
Oh, look at that. They call me Nostradamus.
But yeah, that episode was really good. Like Richie's like this entire time has been rough around the edges, like confrontational with everyone. So it's just kind of like really good to see him get like actual development in the show proper now, to the point where he's actually one of the more upstanding and my favorite characters in the show at this point. After this episode happens, like he's somehow become one of the heads, like one of the voices of reason for the restaurant. And yeah, like season 2 just kind of leads up to the opening of the bear until we have another moment like season 1 where everything breaks down, but it's for one character in particular. And I feel like it's a little forced how this happens. Like, I feel like,
yeah,
I know it's hard. I know you shouldn't go, oh no, but you can't gauge everything by something being, would it work realistically? Like, would this situation realistically happen? Because in story-wise, writing-wise, this moment happens because of this character's being negligent the entire season. And yeah, sure, it makes sense like that. But this show is kind of realistic to a point, and realistically speaking, someone would have handled the situation that got that character into this mess.
Yeah. I do want to raise on the other side, though. I believe it's either the last or second to last episode where there is, I'm pretty sure, a one-shot from front of house to back of house to front of house, which just, on a technical execution level, is just obscenely good.
I think it's in the final episode. It's while everything, like, everyone's being serviced. Like, when the restaurant is actually open, like, everything for the episode of the restaurant actually being open and, like, camera work, performance, it's fantastic. Like, they make a big deal out of it. It's really, really well shot. And then season 3 is just kind of like dealing with the fallout afterwards. Like, the restaurant isn't, like, it's doing fine, but it needs to make more money to work off the debt to the uncle. And that's kind of like the premise of this season. Like, it's continuing on with season 2's promise of the restaurant needs to open, it needs to do good, it needs to make so much money within like an 18-month period to pay things back. And it just seems like everything is up on a clock now and everything's ticking down, but it's still like everyone's still working through their own sort of things. And the big problem with season 3 is that everyone's problems begin here or started in season 2 in a sense, and none of them get concluded here. This is a season that feels like, yeah, no, we got another season in the back pocket to deal with everything later on. We're just going to set things up here now and kind of get to like a semi-interesting points by the end of the season, but not like actually cap anything off.
Side questing.
Yeah, essentially. It's side questing.
Like, it's not bad side questing. It's very good side questing. But
I will call out one bad side questing, and it's like, I talked about before, like the Fishes episode came in the middle of the season, and it tied back into the season later on. So it's like, oh no, this was a side episode, but then it actually had like some importance. This season had an episode based entirely on Tina and how she met Michael.
I was going to say, you're going to pull up Tina, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's a good episode. Fantastic TV. It has no bearing on the plot whatsoever, and it comes in the middle of like interesting things happening.
Yeah. 100%. And that's the episode that Sydney's actress, Ao, I'm going to butcher her last name, but she directed rather than Christopher, whatever his last name is, the guy who does basically all of The Bear. Sydney's actress directed the Tina episode.
Okay, yeah, no, like directing wise, it was fine. It just from writing,
it's not a slight. I'm just saying that's like a fun fact type thing. That was also her directorial debut. You know, did it well. But
she did a good job. It's just she was given a weird episode to do.
Yeah. No, it doesn't really further. It gives you like little bits, but not. I don't think it gives you enough to justify how much time is spent on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's not even a long episode. It's one of the shorter ones in terms of like the bare run times. it's only like half an hour. Most of them run closer to the 40-minute mark.
I do kind of like that they don't hold themselves to that. Like, particularly season 1, season 2, they're like, yeah, these are 30-minute episodes, and I guess towards the end, and you're like, yeah, these are 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, hang on, what?
Yeah. I also really liked how when I started season 3, I was like, I sent you a message going, the thing that's really interesting me about the bear right now is I really need to know what the deal is with Joel McHale's character. And then season 3 ends with you getting what the deal with Joel McHale's character is, and it's like, oh, he's just a piece of shit.
See, like, all of that is true. But again, this is kind of one of my complaints that like, I could kind of see that. Like, there wasn't anything in any of those interactions that I went, oh man, now I understand Joel McHale's character. It was all like, from even the flashbacks, I had that character pinned to like what its purpose was in the story, and that purpose didn't change. And the whole monologue at the end, like between Joel and like that whole conversation, like all of that was said, again, absolutely fine television, nothing wrong with it in terms of narratively or story or anything. But I'm watching it just kind of checking the boxes off of what I'd already assumed about the character from like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, and this doesn't feel like a definitive confrontation between them. This feels like this is the first time they meet, and they'll have like a proper, actual, direct confrontation later. This felt like a primer for something bigger.
Yeah, and I think that there's the trying to avoid spoilers. There's the character arc. Specifically for one of the characters that starts becoming more relevant from about halfway through the season, which I think is actually really interesting. And it looks like it's starting to kind of rear its head. And I was hoping that would be the linchpin of like the structure of the Bear seasons is always like something builds up and then the season ends. And I was expecting that particular story thread to be the build up, but it isn't. It's like hinted at of like, yeah, we'll need to resolve this eventually. And then they just don't. And it's like, so close.
I'll just say it straight up. Is it the thing about Sydney?
Yeah.
No, I was hoping that the Sydney plotline would
just develop a bit faster.
Yeah, develop faster, actually maybe have like a point of no return at the end of this season, and then that becomes like the breaking point for the start of next season.
Exactly. Like it subverted me. It subverted me.
That's a bad subversion.
Yeah, it is.
To the point that it's actively making Sydney one of my least favorite characters on the show. Which, to be fair, was an easy feat to do because I was already very much putting her at the bottom of my list by the end of season 1. And she hadn't done anything to work her way back up the tier list.
Wow, rude.
I'm sorry, I just like other characters better. And when Richie has like a full character breakthrough and like becomes an active participant in making this restaurant work, he kind of gets high grades. And then Natalie comes in and starts trying to make things work. She gets high grades too.
Yeah, so realizing how long we spent on talking about this, I want to start wrapping things up, but I got 2 questions for you just on similar thoughts to that. One, I've heard people either really enjoying or just wishing that Ice Chips, the episode was cut of Natalie and Donna in the hospital.
I feel like that's important.
For me, it falls into the same boat as a lot of the season of really good television. Not sure that it really kind of services forwarding the Bear story that I care about, but I also think we would miss it if it was removed. Yeah,
no, I feel like at this point, after season 2, the show has become just as much about the characters as it is the restaurant. And it feels like...
That's... Yeah, for me, that's part of the problem.
I think as long as like they're working in tandem with each other, like if the character development is working in tandem with why the restaurant is important, it's fine. And there hasn't been too many things that have broken that cycle yet. And I think Ice Chips is like on the brink of breaking that cycle, but I think they need a way for Donna to work her way into like the restaurant storyline being important. But
that's true. Yeah, let's give her an in. The other one, my absolute favorite moment from the season, hands down, is when Fack gets put in charge of delivering the dish to the front of house.
Yes.
Oh man. Is that also your favorite moment of the season?
I'd say it's high up there. Now that you've said it, it's hard thinking of anything that tops it.
There have been several things that I've like laughed at. 'Cause I'm normally quite quiet when I watch things. Like even if I laugh, it's like an inward laugh. I very rarely laugh because I watch stuff by myself with headphones on, so it's sort of weird to like laugh outwardly for me. But I lost my mind watching that unfold.
Yeah, I think the other one that was really high up for me was the third Fack brother coming in and haunting the second Fack brother.
Yeah, the haunting is also very good. Some people also say that there were too much emphasis on the Facks this episode, this season. Which
I can see that, and I'm halfway to agreeing.
Yeah, I think what the decision was done there is that they gave, say, Tina an episode, and Tina didn't really have much impact on the rest of the season. She got her own episode, and then that was kind of it, and she was in the background. I feel like the Facts not getting their own episode meant that they were just sprinkled a little more heavily through the season.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's my guess. Although there's like 4 other brothers or something that we need to
and a sister we still need to see.
Yeah, that we eventually need to learn about.
Last question just for you. I was doing like a little
me or Steve?
You, since Stephen hasn't
I haven't said a single thing. I do not care. I've zoned out.
Yeah, what's up?
So straight up, Marcus is probably my favorite character in the show. I want to know who's yours.
Fack is up there.
Which Fack? Main Fack or technician Fack?
Wait. What were the two?
I said main Fack or like the electrician Fack.
I feel like they were both electricians in my head. The one with all the tats and the moustache.
Yeah, main Fack.
Yeah, main Fack. Yeah. Main Fack definitely up there. I actually it's one of those terrible like seeing the toxic traits, but I actually quite relate to Kami.
yeah, he's really good.
Like, a fair bit. In some ways, it's hard because I relate to a lot of the characters a little bit. I relate to Fack a lot, and that just de facto kind of raises his status in my head. Third Fack brother, excellent. Wish I related to him more.
Wish I could see him.
They just didn't have enough of him in the episodes. It's hard. I think it.
You know what? Actually, your point about like too many guest stars, I think Fact 3 being John Cena was what hit me with. Okay, you're just getting people in now.
See, that was me watching Fishes the first time. It was just like, do we really need like all of these people to tell this story? And it's great. They absolutely nail their jobs. But like me watching it the first time, it's just like I'm losing track of how many people I know are in this scene. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. But John Mulaney, I'm pretty sure is from Chicago, and they make his character to be from Northern California. And it's like, why? The whole show is about a family like Chicago, like a Chicago-centric family. Why do they make him the black sheep and make him from California? It felt like the writers just made that choice, laughed, high-fived each other, and then did it to spite me.
Yeah, I think it was just to spite you specifically for knowing that information.
Exactly. I think Kami on the whole. Yeah, Marcus is pretty cool as well. but yeah, even Will, when they drag Will Poulter's character back in a bit more, I'm like, yeah, yeah, for me it's like a relatability thing. I relate to a lot of the characters a little bit, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's the bear chat done. Steve, you can unblock your ears now.
La 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 la. I'm not listening. I don't care. I just got zoned out.
So my question for you to bring you back in on this, Steve. What's your favorite sort of bear?
Big fan of polar bears.
Oh yeah. Is it their size or the color or? Please don't say that you like them just because they're white.
Nope, wasn't going to say that. I just think it's really cool that they can pole dance. Because they're polar bears.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Oh, to round it out, I'll give my score as well. Season one is a solid 9. Season 2, I want to give an 8.5, and season 3 an 8. And I'm only doing the 0.5 scale to be like, season 2 is better than season 3, but I don't want to give season 3 lower than an 8.
I think those are the scores that I gave. You know what? People listening at home, go back and listen to, 2 episodes ago? Probably, when I talked about this. But I think those are the scores I gave. I definitely...
Yeah, it progressively gets lower as the seasons go, but they're all still like high-quality TV.
I might have given one like a 9.5 or something, but yeah, they're very, very similar scores. But yeah, thank you for that, Seth. Very, very fun deep dive. And with that, we come to the end of Round the Lunch for this week. Thank you to you both, as always. We get to move on to part 2 for this week, which is, of course, the news.
Do you guys have those honeycomb mic things? Just quick tangent.
What do you mean?
You know those sorry,
explain yourself.
Mice. You know those meese that have the holes in it?
Oh,
it's called like honeycomb mice or something?
Yeah, no, I don't have a ventilated mouse.
The plural is mace.
Oh, I thought it was meese. Yeah, no, because I just recall seeing a picture during the break. I was doing some doom scrolling, and I saw a picture of it. Oh, yeah, you're not a true gamer if you don't have one of these mice. And I'm like, I just don't know how the honeycomb kind of things doesn't just rip your hand up. I don't know.
It's apparently to help with pan sweat.
Oh, is it really?
That's what I heard.
Oh, the ones with the you mean the honeycomb like structure thing of like where you put your hand like over the top of the mouse.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I've heard it makes it super light, but yeah, I can imagine it also helps with hand sweat. But yeah, it probably would be kind of weird to. I'm a bit of a razor guy. Have a Razer mouse.
Yeah, I got a Razer Naga Trinity, one of those fancy ones with 12 buttons on the side.
That's me, but I my old one I used so much that I wore through the right mouse button because this was like peak Dota degen days. So this one I bought and then basically cold turkey Dota. So this one I can put the side plate on that has the 12 buttons, or the side plate that has the like 7-ish buttons, which is more what you'd use for a MOBA anyway. Or just like a regular, almost looks like an office mouse with 2 buttons. And so that's one that I've been using for, when did I buy this? 2 years ago? Yeah, last couple of years.
Yeah, I mostly use mine for Final Fantasy 14 to use all the button skills with the 12 buttons. Yeah, but it's also come in handy with editing the podcast.
Oh yeah,
like just having macros tied to those buttons. I also wore through the first one. For me, it was a left click button because so much of what I do requires left clicking. And so it just got to a point where it wouldn't hold down the like the click and drag anymore. It would be really finicky with that. So I just got a new one to replace that.
I thought someone was spending too much time clicking through tabs on a web browser, but yeah, that's cool. That's
closing too many too fast. Panic mode.
You mean when someone, when someone comes up behind you. What sort of mouse do you use, Steve? How the fuck did we get here?
Because I asked a question on honeycomb mice. I've just got like a Logitech one. It's the same one I use. Well, I don't really game on the old
this man. Buy a Trinity.
No.
Buy a honeycomb Trinity.
You know what? I could for like work and have like all my Excel macros bound to my buttons on the mice, but I'm not going to do that. Would work let me do that? I don't know. I wouldn't want to anyway.
Expense claim it. Buy it and then say that you're doing 12 people's jobs. Anyway, let's go on to the actual news. I'm going to have to timestamp this again, aren't I? Okay, bunch of fighting game news. First of all, I
hold on.
hear
Before that, I got some breaking news I wanted to hit everyone with.
Oh, yeah.
And by breaking news, I mean it happened not the weekend that passed, but the weekend before. John Cena is announcing that he's retiring from WWE next year. We brought him up because of the bear, and I decided, you know what? I'm quickly going to hit this news docket while we're here. He's decided that next year is going to be his last year. He's mostly done part-time work with WWE for the last few years, where he only appears a handful of times a year. And I guess next year is like, yep, okay, I feel like I'm going to be done. And after that, he's just going to focus on TV and movies.
I was going to say, given how much I've seen him doing like acty stuff outside of the WWE, I assume he had retired from WWE and he just shows up from time to time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, he just shows up for the big events. Like he shows up for WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, SummerSlam. And that's kind of his plan for next year anyway. He's only announced that he's going to be at Royal Rumble, he's going to be at Elimination Chamber, and he's going to be at WrestleMania, which are the first 3 pay-per-views of the year next year. And he might have a few more shows after that, but yeah, it's sometime next year he's done.
So what changes then? Like, so where I'm coming from with that, someone like Dwayne,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I just know him as Dwayne. I don't know about you guys. Or Mr. Rock, if you will.
I know him as Black Adam.
But,
you shouldn't.
He's one, so I'm not a big wrestling guy. Maybe this is wrong, but to me it sounded like he basically left the WWE and went and did a bunch of acting stuff and has slowly started doing a bit more WWE stuff again more recently without officially rejoining in a proper capacity. Or am I completely off base?
The Rock is one of the head people of WWE at the moment. He's like one of the heads of the chair of boards.
Cool, so I'm just off base. Sweet. It sounded like he did
you were right
thing.
until like 5-6 months ago.
Right, but that's sort of my point. Is that like I assume you go off and you do a massive amount of Hollywood stuff that you don't really like. I guess what I'm saying is you can say that you're retiring from WWE, whatever, but I imagine as long as you're still relatively able to play the part, that there won't be a point where WWE goes, fuck no, you're not coming back. You've already burnt the bridge.
Yeah, no, there's never anything like that. Everyone just kind of leaves and then they come back for a little bit. They do like a small tour, like they make a big deal out of them coming back for a little bit.
Yeah,
they
like
do
when
a
the money
big
runs
match
out.
and then they go again for like a few months or a year or so. No, all this changes. It's like John Cena is completely out of WWE when this is over. Like he's saying he's not going to make like a big show of like, yeah, no, I'm gone, but I'll be back later. He's like, no, I'm completely out of in-ring action.
He'll be back. and speaking of being back, Dota 2 is back, baby. Actually, I'm going to have to time this again, aren't I? Fuck. I guess it's all part of the news, actually. We'll keep it rolling. Dota 2 is back, baby. They live service game, have a battle passy type thing every year. This year, apparently it's gone gangbusters, which is probably on the back of the absolute cocaine-fueled rampage that is the latest patch in Dota of just everything going off the chain. Almost brought me back. I felt the familial spiders crawling under my skin, but said, no, thank you. Drugs are bad. This is your brain on drugs, and I have barely any brain to begin with. But they've introduced a full-blown fighting game that you can play in the Dota 2 client. So, question for you, Saif. You jelly?
No, I'm looking at gameplay of this, and this looks like one of those mid flash fighting games you'd find on Newgrounds or like coolmathgames.com.
Okay. But hear me out. What if I made it even better by saying that they called it Sleep Fighter?
That sounds like what I'll be doing. I'll be honk-shooing through the fight.
No, sleet. Like, I'm going to sleet Steven's throat.
Oh, I'm more interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
Can
you?
There
we go. Now we're back
Can
on
you
board.
film it? Put it on pay-per-view.
Okay, that's it. You took it too far, Steph. You took it too far, big fella. You're out.
Oh, you crossed over the line and guessed wrong. Closest without going over. No, it's cool. I imagine that like Dota 2's had like a crazy long life for a live service game. I say that as a former addict slash degen for 10-ish years. That I imagine this was like a side project that a couple devs got together on and then realized that they actually could make it into something slightly better fleshed out and then just got told to do it, which is probably pretty cool. Could be wrong on that, but I can't imagine there was like a product manager sitting sitting just next to Gabe Newell's giant cocaine pot and just went, you know what Dota 2 needs? Fighting games. Although actually, I don't know if we talked about it, but maybe we did. That mod that it was introduced as part of the workshop, like a Dota 2 custom game where you could just play League champions.
That sounds odd.
Okay, this isn't sounding familiar. Never mind. It was kind of like a so back in Dota 1, Defense of the Ancients, as it was called then. It was like Radiant versus Dire. It's still technically Radiant versus Dire, but you couldn't pick, like you had to pick heroes from each pool for each side. And then in this custom mod, it's League versus Dota, where one side of the map you pick League heroes, one side of the map you pick Dota heroes, and they skinned it up with like the different UIs and a bunch of the similar moves and everything. Haven't played it. Looked quite. It was sort of like a flash in the pan thing of probably a bit of fun for an hour, but not a huge amount of depth to it. But I'm just ballparking that this is sort of a similar thing of people play it, go, yeah, it's probably a bit of fun for an hour or so, and then go about their day. All I want is for them to bring back the roguelike, because that was the last time I had the spiders under my skin, and boy, was that fun. Which I'm pretty sure is what the last few of my Steam names was in reference to. Anyway, good to move on?
Yeah, good to move on. I'd like to move on so you can stop sounding like an addict trying to go for one more hit.
Just let me have it, okay? Man. Just yeah, I'm
just one game of Dragon Knight or Dragon Flame Knight, whatever his name is. Just one game.
Drow Ranger was my main.
I really played like one game and I was like, I didn't get it, then I stopped.
Fair enough. Well, next up.
Always has been.
Turns out Riot and I have a lot more in common than I thought. In that we both thought that it was weird that Multiverses was like, hey, we're super popular right now. Just jokes, it's just an open beta. We're gonna like pull everything down and then work on some stuff and put it back up. And you might be thinking, Patrick, why are you talking about this? Well, turns out Riot was working on a fighting game more closer to Smash Bros, which is kind of sort of Multiverses. About to get whopped by Seth for getting the terms wrong, but
platform fighter.
Thank you. But Riot looked at what happened to Multiverses and went, I won't have what he's having. I will keep my money. We haven't had a Multiverses update. I'm sure
Instead,
Multiverses has what?
Agent Smith came out and it's still pretty buggy.
All right, are we doing Steamcharts guesses?
1001. Patrick, take 1000.
1001 and a half.
Technically, you're right, Pat. So an hour ago, there was 1,600 people playing, but it's an all-time, a 24-hour peak of 5,100. So it's.
You know what makes me upset about
breakers.
That? Yeah, I was going to say the fact that Multiverses comes and goes, and there's still more people playing it than there are Exoprimal. I actually, as part of Steamcharts, looked up how many people are playing Borderlands 2 out of just morbid curiosity. 5,000, 24-hour peak.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was quite funny. Like 1,600-ish past whatever the timestamp was, but still doing well. Anyway, so they pulled the plug on the platform fighter because they saw what happened to Multiverses, and said no thanks. Anyone want to contribute some thoughts to this?
It's very funny to see that like Multiverses, people were looking at Multiverses as like, oh, what's going to happen is going to be like the big free-to-play platform fighter game. It's using a bunch of well-known properties. If this flies off, as well as we hope it does, and there's going to be a lot of players following it, and if it fails, then yeah, like a lot of things are going to go down. And glad to see that prediction was right. It failed, and like everyone's like, okay, no, Smash Brothers has this. Smash Brothers is this genre.
Yeah.
Well, because everybody, like Nick All Stars
Steve?
Brawl, Multiverses, they're all called like Smash clones. Like it's
And Nick All Star Brawl 2.
Of course, that's coming to Game Pass soon. But I think it's more of like not only were they the first, they've perfected it. Like, what could you do differently? That, like, whatever.
Different IP.
Yeah,
like that's basically the determining factor.
that's it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Because the like,
then you're always people will always be comparing it to. Smash.
That's exactly my point. Is that like my preferred platform fighter is Smash. That when I played that, I think I played a little bit of Nick All Star Brawl and Multiverses, but both of them just didn't feel good, or like they felt fine, but just because like my baseline is Smash Bros, that they felt too floaty and too weird and different, and that I didn't like it. But if I hadn't played Smash Bros, I'm sure they'd play fine.
Yeah, no, Smash Bros is meticulous about game feel, game design, and everything else. And
well, that's just Nintendo in a nutshell.
No, even then, it's like it's above that. It's Sakurai is insane and basically put himself in hospital and injured himself making these games.
By actually fighting each of the characters.
To the point where it's like
to lab the data.
The game feel and like the floatiness and snappiness of animations and like the polish isn't there in these other games like it is Smash Brothers. So it's like we have the King of the Mountain. It's like everything else isn't able to even make that first step up towards the king.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to move on. Not really anything else to say.
I'm good.
All the best indeed, Steve. Well, get to move on to 2XKO. X is always silent. 2KO. Adding Brom. This is the League of Legends fighter now, not the Dota fighter. Okay. Maybe you can help me out with this, Seth.
Probably not.
Let me finish. I'm all for games wanting to hype themselves up and keeping the marketing train going and things, but it feels like we're at a weird stage of the 2XKO cycle, that the game isn't going to be released until next year. We had that brief demo at one of the fighting tournaments. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's been. I'm pretty sure it's been playable at every fighting game event this year.
Yeah, but it seems like we're at a weird stage of the hype cycle where like you can announce that there's a character being added to it, but I don't have a reference as to what that means, I guess. Like, help me fill in the blanks here, because I wasn't really watching Tekken 8's hype cycle until Tekken. Please tell me Tekken 8's the one that came out this year.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, just had a heart attack.
Tekken 7 was the one that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, cool. But, so, I wasn't keeping track of if they did, like, and this person's coming to Tekken 8, but it seemed like there was much more hype, and maybe this is also off the back of Smash, where once the game is out, they say, hey, this character's coming to it, get excited, get interested, you know, when the update hits, then you can play this character, like they did regularly with Multiverses, and it is Multiverses that I'm thinking of, that obviously they can come out and say, hey, we're going to add Brom. That's cool. But it's kind of like it feels a little inconsequential because there's no basis to do anything with that info. I guess.
So to put you on your ass a little bit with this one, there is a little bit of a basis because we talked about last time, but 2XKO is going to have their closed beta happening next month. And Evo is this weekend, and so they're announcing Brom ahead of time to be like, this is the extra character that's going to be playable at Evo, and the next character that's going to be available when the beta goes live. So now we know all the characters that are going to be in there, and these trailers just kind of give us like a idea of what their moveset is going to be like.
Okay. Yeah, see, that makes way more sense, but just in my head, it's like, hey, I have a game coming out in like 2 years. Do you know what you'll be able to do in 2 years? Play this character. And it's like, cool.
Yeah, Tekken, Tekken we knew much closer to when it was coming out. Like, they were doing character hype cycles like a year, I think like a year before it came out. And every time they did it, it was like, okay, rapid fire, there's a character trailer 1 week, character trailer the next week, character trailer the next week, until a point where it's like, okay, now you know all these characters that are gonna be playable at this event, and we're gonna take a little bit of a dip, then we're going to have a big trailer, like slightly showcase some characters here, and then, okay, next event's coming up, character trailer this week, character trailer this week, character trailer this week.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. Yeah. Glad to be put on my ass on this one. Do you know if 2XK was one that they've pushed back the development of? Because I feel like this one's also been in the works for longer than a lot of other games.
It's been in the works for a long time. It's just that they've never really talked about it. And every time they've come out to talk about it, they're like, yeah, no, don't expect this for a long time. We'll announce hard, concrete stuff when we're more ready.
People come out and they're like, hey, any news about 2XKO? And they're like, we laid off a bunch of people at Riot. And they're like, okay, not the news I was after.
Yeah, last year I think was like the first time people really got hands-on with it. And like this year is like, yeah, no, we're going to start opening up more for like online testing, and then it'll be out next year. But there's been no like pushbacks. It's just been like very large gaps between them talking about it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Sweet. I'm glad that there is more context than what I'm seeing at the fringes of the fighting game sphere of like game that isn't out yet announces character that won't be playable for a year, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, cool. No, they're going to be playable in a week.
Yeah, that's sick. And within the League universe, I really like Braum anyway, so I'm a sucker for his character. Any more thoughts? Anything you want to add? Anything about Braum that you like, perhaps?
No, because I don't play League, so I don't really have like a basis for the character. But like just off the trailer, I really like Braum. He looks like I love big muscly dudes that are just there for fun. Like he's just showing off his strength and having a good time about it.
He's big muscly dude there for fun. He has a magic door that he walks around with. That's his whole like shtick, kind of Hodor-esque. But he's also like just a massive lover of animals and like just a big like he's just a big goofy guy, you know?
Yeah, and I like
big goofy guy.
Yeah, he's just a big goofy guy. If I ever got jacked and wanted to shave my head, I'd go cosplay as Braum.
When you get jacked.
That's what I said. Once I start hitting the trend.
You gotta eat trend hard. Once I can sprint faster than you at the half marathon on Tren. No, then I will simply have to get on it.
Get on the gear, get on the guilty gear, perhaps. Some guilty gear you can strive for gold. I'm talking about guilty gear strive. Now we've moved on.
Not your best.
Come on, bro.
I appreciate
walk on over
it.
To your house. Let me walk over to your house with my trend up forearms. Be like mugshot from Sly 1 and walk around on my fucking knuckles.
Alright, big fella, settle down.
Guilty Gear Knuckle. What's wrong with me?
Were you about to say Guilty Gear Knuckles?
I was. I don't know why. Guilty Gear Strive. Dual rulers as in 2025. Guilty Gear fans, how we eating?
Guilty Gear's story is a mess. I'm glad there's going to be something that makes it simple to keep up with. Even though there's like, I think there's going to be a sequel to Strive, like in terms of timeline, but it'll be an easy way to consume Guilty Gear story.
Guilt-free, perhaps?
Guilt-free entirely. This anime also showcases a new character, and we know there's going to be another season of characters coming to Guilty Gear Strive. So a lot of people have just penciled this in as like, oh, this character's totally going to be in the game soon.
Wonder if it's going to be like what they did with the Dota anime, where they were like, hey, Marcy's a character in the anime, now Marcy's a character in the game. And then the entire community went, fuck no, this is terrible.
No,
not that it's a bad character, just that Marcy was absolute fucking busted to shit when she first released.
Oh, that tends to happen with DLC characters in general in fighting games. A new one will come out and it's like, oh, they're busted as shit because we had to pay for them.
Yep.
Unless they go to the opposite scale and it's like, oh, this character wasn't very popular and now they're not that strong.
What were you going to say, Steve?
Holy shit. Everybody shut the fuck up. This is probably more of a Seth one. The band Flow is coming to Sydney. What the fuck, man?
Oh, the Naruto OP guys?
Yeah, the good Naruto OP guys.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's this weekend. I'm not going.
It's this weekend? That's Evo weekend. I'm not going.
Wow, that was the greatest.
How much do we reckon tickets are? $90? Jesus Christ. Well,
Biggest
I would
hype
go, but
and then Crash. You saw it here first. Is that as
playing?
exciting
That's
as Bleach Rebirth of
insane.
Souls being announced?
Oh yeah, holy good. This is Steven News. Us Bleach Bros are eating good. So this was announced as part of the.
I can't believe he's getting excited for a shitty 3D anime brawler.
Fuck you.
What do you mean?
Our Bleach
Pokemon's been out for a while, Seth.
The only good 3D anime brawler is the Budokai Tenkaichi games.
The Ultimate Ninja Storm.
They're only good for their story mode.
Anyway, so yeah, and that's what I'm hoping this will be like as well, because the Bleach hasn't gotten a good video game
Ever.
too long.
I was gonna say
Maybe
ever.
since. Nah, they did the third Phantom, which is like a Fire Emblem type of game, but it was like non-canon.
I hear the PS3 game was all right.
Shattered. Resurrection of Memory. It wasn't. It's a beat 'em up. It's not good. Man. Anyway, so Bandai Namco announced this last week. It looks, it is a 3D arena fighter. Fantastic. It'll be interesting to see how far it goes in the story. Because it did show a couple of things at the start, obviously, and then it did show, I think, a couple of things in the Arrancar arc, or there was like an out. I don't know. Chad's arm was his Arrancar arm, I think. So it would be very interesting to see how far it goes. Knowing what Bandai Namco does, it will be in 2 parts, or possibly even 3. Who knows? But with the 1,000-Year Blood War coming to an end at the end of this year, I'm very hopeful, and call me delusional, that it actually is the whole entire series, which would be fucking fantastic. I'm hoping for like a Dragon Ball Kakarot type of thing, but I don't think it will be. A man can dream though. But another big thing about this as well, it's got it's dubbed as well, the English dub, which is huge because these games sometimes do not get dubbed. So yeah, us Bleach Chads are eating well.
Cool. I have nothing to contribute to this.
Yeah, me either.
So?
I haven't read or watched Bleach much.
You should.
I should. It's on my list. I want to do a deep dive of that.
It's good.
Cool. Well, I guess we're good to move on then.
Are we?
Yes, definitely.
I have no idea. You're the
Don't
one that
listen to Steven. Move on.
It's the most animated I've ever seen him. Cool. Well, we are going to move on.
Bleach is my favorite series.
God, you must have been suicidal when it was getting to the end of the manga.
Yeah, I was. I found like an error in one of the screenshots. It's got Ichigo versus Renji, but Ichigo's got his Shikai out, but he shouldn't have his Shikai at that stage. He should still have the one with the handle. Man, this is gonna be garbage. But it is cool. Renji's got his fucking goggles. But oh well, maybe they'll fix it up in post.
We can only dream. Speaking of dreams, people will be able to make their action game dreams a reality because Action Game Maker has been announced for PC coming out next year. These are cool. I love the ideas of these. Is it bad that I think it'd be really funny if like this gets announced and then we see like a short from Pirate Software just shitting on like these sorts of like accessible game engines?
I thought he was into RPG Maker.
Oh no! I'm sure he is, but I'm just saying it'd be funny that like he really pushes the like, hey, if you want to make a game, just go and make the game, man. But then we have like an accessible tool like this, and he's like, not like that. do it the hard way.
No, I think most of his stuff has been like, yeah, no, however you want to get into it. There's like no barrier sort of thing. But
yeah, no, he's been very good about that.
Yeah, but no, this is it. I haven't messed around with like Pixel Game Maker or RPG Maker, but these are really cool ideas to like help people get into learning how to make games, and yeah, just kind of cool that this is happening. This is like helping people make like 2D action, like platformer-y sort of games. So it'll be interesting to see what people do with this.
I was at like a school holiday programmy thing, like I don't even know how many years ago now. And one of the things that we did was making a game, and it was, some dumb probably had Game Maker in the name, but you were basically limited to you were in first person, and you could make the map, and that was it, and your character would run around the map, and that was basically the extent of it. But at the time, it was the coolest shit ever. And so kids now, or at least whatever age I was back then, I genuinely don't know how old I was. Maybe like 11 or 12. I don't know. 11 and 12-year-olds now having access to this sort of stuff. Man, what a time, Just so much. I hope it's so much more accessible to do cooler shit with the same level of difficulty as me just putting blocks in a world and running a character around thinking I'm the next, like, I actually don't know.
Miyamoto.
Famous, sure. But I'm a big fan that this is coming out. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, no, I think this would be really cool too. And yeah, anything that makes getting into making games is really appreciated. So yeah, interested to see what happens with it. Even if I don't personally touch it.
Yeah, we'll find out later that it's like ripped all of its assets from like just artists and AI. Next up, Transformers Galactic Trials announced for a bunch of platforms. I think the premise of this is cool, but the trailer, as soon as I saw the trailer,
it looks like ass.
Yeah, I didn't know what platforms it was targeting, but I saw the trailer and I'm like, this is either a mobile game or a Switch game. It's coming to Switch, as far as we can tell, not coming to mobile, but man.
Could be either or, to be honest.
Honestly, coming to Switch is a worse signifier than coming to mobile.
Probably is getting to that stage, eh?
Yeah, because the MiHoYo games can run on mobile, but not on Switch.
Phone's probably stronger than the Switch.
I mean, we've had...
This looks dog shit, by the way.
8 years of technological advancement in phones that Switch has been on the same hardware. I guess technically the OLED refresh, but...
It's still the same hardware, but it's just a nicer screen.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's different hardware. It's got a different screen. Screens are hardware. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm fucking around. We getting this, fellas?
Are you finding out?
No, we're not getting this. I just wanted to bring it up because of how funny it looks. Like, it looks like absolute dog water. So good. Like, with the name, okay, no, not with the name, but yeah, it's supposed to be a racing game.
Go on, finish that thought.
I was like, yeah, with the name, and then I realized, actually, no, there's nothing in the name that suggests it's just purely going to be a racing game. But, yeah, they announced it as being a racing game, but then the trailer shifts into like, plus there's these battlefield segments where you run on foot and shoot at other people. I'm like,
people are like, who asked for this?
Who asked for this? Like, I guess it makes sense because you need some sort of like, oh yeah, do the robot part of the Transformers, but the third-person shooting mechanics look absolutely shit. And the racing doesn't look that much better itself, to be honest.
You know what? Hasbro taken out what you need is that like you need it should only be racing. Oh, hang on. It should only be racing, but like to use item and stuff, so you got to transform into your like Transformer.
See, I think you guys are still making this harder than it needs to be. I think they had the perfect opportunity to do what Crash, help me out, Seth.
Tag Team
PSP
Racing.
Game. Was it Tag Team?
Nah.
Where you get to fuse with another car?
Yeah, that was Tag Team.
That was Crash Tag Team Racing.
Yeah.
Man, that was a fucking game. Holy shit.
I when I saw the name of this and that it's a racing game, I'm like, oh, this is what they're going to do. It's going to be great because like Transformers, you like fuse like Decepticons versus Autobots, like team battles in a race or something. And then I see third person like running and shooting and it's like, oh, guys. Because you know what's going to happen mechanically with that, right? Because there are sections that are only third person running. If you're either way out in front or way behind, those sections are just going to be boring as hell.
I wonder if you're actually fighting the other people or if it's just computer-controlled enemies.
I feel like it'd be confusing if it was computer-controlled enemies, because there'd be no... in my head, there's no incentive to fight computer-controlled enemies unless you're hoping to beat them in the race.
Could be like a score thing, or like they actively slow you down if you don't deal with them.
Oh, yeah, it could be something like that. But, I don't know. Call me old-fashioned, but just toss a new can of paint on Crash Tag Team Racing. Proud of yourself?
Yeah.
Are you... wait, shit, that was the right tab. Damn it. Oh no, segue's ruined. Oh no, back it up. Future Seth, take this out. We're just going to jump.
Future Seth, leave this in.
Future Seth will decide what to do with his limited time editing.
Extended by 5 minutes.
Okay, but it's your fault when I tell you what the runtime is later.
Wait, we get to move on from Transformers?
Yeah, good to move on from Transformers.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, we'll be a bit rogue in the next one, I reckon.
Go on, just fucking end me now, Steve. Just finish it off. Put in the button. Put in the button presses for the fatality. You're just about to. You're almost there.
So TMNT roguelike is coming to PC. Yay! It's coming to Switch as well. I didn't even fucking hear about this game. I think that the TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series, is so disjointed with what it wants to do at the moment. I don't know. I don't know what this is trying to be.
It reboots like every 5 years for a new generation of kids.
I stand by the movie that came out last year. I think it was last year. The like almost clay animation one, the like crazy animation one. That was still a good movie.
Oh yeah, the CG one. I've been wanting to watch that for a long time and just never got around to it. The one where they're actually voiced by teenagers and they got to ad-lib things.
Yeah, it should be out now, but I quite enjoyed that film.
Yeah, no, it seemed good. But I think this roguelike looks pretty interesting. They're doing like making it multiplayer, so like everyone gets to control the other turtles and like team up together is a good way to handle it.
See, I really like that, but I thought they would go the route of what is it? I think they hinted, because it's not out yet, but I think it was Geno Kids, the one that you spoke about ages ago, the Kickstarter one, Seth. The like
yes, the one that's like the one that's kind of influenced by Kingdom Hearts and Devil May Cry.
Yeah, that. I thought they'd take it that route, and also this is going to be a weird comparison. Ruby Grim Eclipse. Don't know if anyone has played.
I played a little bit of that.
Never heard of it. Never even heard of it. Literally speaking a different language.
Always has been, but the broad mechanics for that one is also co-op, but whatever character you play, you level up on, and so I guess it's almost like Castle Crashers sort of approach of like it's like fun co-op, whatever, but you have characters that you swap between. I guess I really like all of the broad parts of the mechanics that they have. I'm just not sure if roguelike versus more RPG is the better fit, I guess. It depends on how they do it. But I'm like, the only reason I say that is because roguelike co-ops have to be really carefully scaled mechanically for it not to just get stupid hard or stupid easy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my concern.
And also roguelike is kind
so
of
many
like
more variables.
Roguelike at the moment is kind of like a crowded genre because everyone wants to do it. And I'm guessing that's why this is a roguelike, because Nickelodeon wants in on that pie.
I mean, why would they need to? All-Star Brawl's doing so well.
How was that player count again?
Steve,
it's coming to Game Pass I'm not going to. It's coming to Game Pass in like a week or so. That might really give it the boost it needs.
But yeah, no, I'm kind of excited for this. To be honest, seeing it coming to seeing that it's available on Switch is a little bit of a turn off for the same reasons we just talked about with Transformers. But it coming to Steam, maybe, depending on the co-op situation.
Yeah, Steam puts it on the maybe I'll check this out category rather than just ignoring it when it was Switch only.
Yeah, exactly. Very good, very funny. Any final thoughts? Do we get to move on?
No.
You can segue into the next one.
Segue. Okay, first of all, segways have two wheels. Second of all, how the fuck am I supposed to segue into this?
You can just jump into it.
Let's just jump into it. Good old Philly D.
Homurahime.
Yay, nailed it. Playable at Bit Summit Drift. Never heard of this.
You should remember it because this is one of the first games we covered on the podcast, and it's been missing since.
One of the first games that you covered.
Covered in what? Covered in what, Steve?
Praise.
It was
good
you know
save.
Keep going, man. This looks like a video game.
Yeah, no, this was an action game that looked like it was heavily influenced by Nier Automata because it was also very bullet hell inspired.
This one.
Yeah. And yeah, no, it just looks really interesting when it was announced 2 years ago, and it's just been missing since, and I'm glad to see that it's back now. We're going to have it playable for people in at this expo. What was the expo again?
Bit Summit.
Yep, Bit Summit Drift, which is going to be July 19 to 21, so this weekend. I hope that people are allowed to record it so we can see what it looks like in action. Because all we have is like the concept kind of trailer from 2 years ago.
I hope that people are allowed to record it, but they're only allowed to record it with the camera the wrong way around.
They're only allowed to record it with their phones. So you get like the whole crowd noise in the background as it's going on.
No. I want them to be able to record it, but they can only record it when we see unregistered Hypercam 2 in the top corner.
Oh yeah, that's the perfect
one.
Hang on.
Nah, there we go.
and then it needs to, like, when we see the footage, it needs to be like a Microsoft movie player, the blue background with the white text slowly going sideways, and it'll be like Homura Hime gameplay and the text sideways, and then unregistered Hypercam 2, and then thanks for watching at the end.
You know, the last time that happened, I remember that happening for a game was actually Strangers of Paradise. When people were making 3 Days Grace AMVs for that game. Because
I was going to say, it was an AMV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, they don't make videos like that anymore.
No, they really don't. Or back when you could put the, I don't even remember what they called it, because they removed that mechanic entirely from YouTube videos, but those like sticky notes you could put on the video.
Annotations.
Well, were they called annotations? I feel like they were called something else.
I'm pretty sure they were annotations.
Anyway, those, where they just fucking polluted the screen.
Yeah, I miss those so much.
It was a simpler time.
YouTube has removed more features than I've made memories of other people.
What an absolutely unhinged thing to say.
I started blanking and panicking as I was trying to think of a comparison.
Oh, good. Oh, well, good to move on.
Very good to move on.
All right.
Let's put that behind us.
Something that we can put behind or in front of us is an active time action game. 45 Parabellum Bloodhound, which I really don't know what to make of this. It looks intriguing, I think is my takeaway.
For anyone that's played the games, which I assume is no one on the podcast because the most likely person is me and I haven't, but anyone listening, it looks like it's very...
All two of you.
This looks like it's very similar to Parasite Eve 1 in terms of like gameplay and execution, which is also what they're saying is the inspiration for the game's combat design.
Eve, like Eve Online? Like massive
Eve as in the
multiplayer shit
name.
battle? Eve, like the love interest from a hit Disney film WALL-E.
Sure, let's go with that one.
That was Pixar. That was Pixar, wasn't it? Oh, I fucked it up. I fucked up the metaphor. Nah, but we're moving on. Anything else you want to say about this one, though?
I'm interested in it. I've heard very good things about Valhalla in terms of like character writing. It was a dev's original game, Valhalla, BA11 Hall A. I've heard very good things about their original game, and I've been meaning to check it out. And seeing them just get to go, yeah, no, we're making another game. It's a completely different genre that we want to explore. I'm interested. I hope the best for them, and I'll check it out when it comes out.
It's just like, yeah, no, the game looks interesting. I've heard really good things about Valhalla when I eventually make it there. once I
need my warrior's death, Patrick.
Hey, I have a lighter and some wood. we can make something happen.
That's the funeral. I need to have a warrior's death, though.
I know what I said.
Death,
that's fine. It's interesting because Valhalla was like a text-based adventure, I think.
No, you're thinking of Valheim.
Like a... Nope. 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 You know what? Move on. I've already been roasted enough.
Oh, okay. You don't have to be like that.
Watch me be.
But Steven is right. It was a visual novel.
I knew it.
Right. Well. Well, next up we have Legend of Heroes: Trails Through Daybreak 2, heading west in early 2025. Any Trails Through Daybreak 1 enjoyers in the? I
don't think the Trails Through Daybreak 1 has come out just yet, but if it has, it's been very recent. It came out. The Legend of Heroes series is something I want to get into. I've got all the Sky games. This is a very long series to get through as well. But
have you played all the Sky games? Is it so? It's like Trials of Cold Steel.
Yeah, Trails of Cold Steel is another part of this franchise.
Yeah, Trails.
Yeah, there's like Trails Through the Sky, Trails of Cold Steel, Trails of Heroes. I haven't played them. You don't
fucking surprised.
You don't have to play them in order, but like there are bits of them that like interconnects.
You own the video game.
I bought them on sale at the start of the year.
Well, get playing. What are you doing recording the podcast? You got video games to play, man.
Do you know how many video games I have to play?
At least one.
Yeah, it's enough to give you a warrior's death to make it to Valhalla.
But the important thing of this announcement, to me, in my opinion, is that it's nice to see that these games are getting updated faster, like localized, because I think Trails Through Daybreak 2 just came out in Japan, and the first one came out a little while ago in Japan, and the first one is just being localized over here now. So it's like a faster turnover rate for these games is finally happening. And hopefully, eventually, we get like day and dates releases or like very short gaps between the localization.
Right. I'm assuming the silence is that we're good to move on?
Yeah.
Well, move on we shall. Fuck, man. I love it. I love it when the headline of an article is a fucking paragraph. 10 out of 10.
To be fair, though, that paragraph is basically everything we need to say.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just read it verbatim. CyberConnect to VP says they have ideas for new dot hack, or is the dot silent?
No, the dot is
dot hack.
Yeah, it's dot hack.
Cool. Dot hack games, but are waiting on the green light from Bandai Namco. Developer urges Western fans to continue to ask publisher for more entries.
Bandai Namco is the greatest villain in video games for so many people.
That's it's interesting because there's dot hack games and there's like two different versions of it. One of which I spoke about on this very podcast. And it's like also an anime as well, but I don't think anybody cares about it, to be honest.
There is a lot of groundswell for a new dot hack game. A lot of people.
A lot. Give me 3, and don't give me tweets from literal who's with 4 followers that are bots.
I don't have them on hand.
I'm going to go into... Yeah, of course you don't. I'm going to the dot hack Reddit. Let's see how many people are there. Probably like 1.
And it's you.
See, if you put in dot hack onto Google's dot hack. I put in... Hang on. Oops. Actually, no, I fucked it. That's probably why I didn't get it. Never mind. So you put in like dot hack Reddit, and you're getting like hacking stuff. Oh, hang on. No, it's a second result. Rats, I should have scrolled down. Fucking idiot.
See,
12,000 members.
That's more people than playing that are playing Multiverses or Exoprimal.
That's not the record
These people
you think
are
it
like,
is.
man, this guy's playing it on a CRT. Jesus Christ, man.
Absolute soul.
Finally, a real fucking gamer.
But yeah, you could make like a Arthurian round table
This guy's got the
of
fucking
fan
guidebook.
bases
Holy shit,
that
man.
like hate Namco Bandai because they refuse to support the franchises they love.
Nah, they support Bleep, so it's fine.
After like 12 years.
Yeah, someone said he wins the race. I don't want them to rush games.
I'm sorry, you might cut out there, Steve. Did you say you don't want them to games?
Yep, you heard me.
Exclusive scoop
Are
on
the
the pod.
games safe? Are the games safe for streaming? Is one of the posts from 12 days ago.
Well, what's the answer? The audience needs to know.
I'd say they are. 12 comments. Top comment is no clue.
Based Reddit.
Jesus fucking Christ. Man, let's move on. This is ridiculous. Unless no clue. Why the fuck would he post that?
It's the same as the hey, I'm having an issue with this thing. Hey, me too. Hey, me too. Hey, like also me. Hey, having this like slightly different but similar-ish issue. And then someone else, hey, I fixed it. No extra content. No context provided.
Fix.
Yeah. Yeah. Last active
First
10
warning for
years ago.
necroing the thread.
Also on that site, I don't think it's in the docket, but just kind of cool in passing. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot selling 8 million units worldwide.
Very cool. Love to hear it.
Worst one to get that.
They also just for those that are playing along at home with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, they've got like a new DLC coming out soon, I think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well,
move on.
You know what else doesn't matter? The community, I think I fucked this already. Capcom thinks that Exoprimal doesn't matter because they are ending new updates for it. This is the thing hinted at the start of the episode. Sad news, gamers. Pour one out for Capcom.
Look, I'll say this as someone that never put in the effort to try and make this work. I'm sad to see that this didn't take off.
That's exactly my position too.
See, and that's a lot of the sentiment that I'm seeing as well. It's like, oh, this is such a shame. It's such a cool concept. Okay, fucking play the game.
It came out at a really bad time, and being a live service game, missing out on launch makes you feel like, well, now I'm just never going to get in. And it handled its story in a really bad way where there's no actual story mode. It like unravels a story as you're doing multiplayer games. So to get a story, you need to get into multiplayer games, and
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
yeah,
it wasn't.
And it also felt like they were pushing PvP more than PvE, and I was much more interested in PvE.
Yeah. So,
which, funnily enough, based on a couple screenshots of tweets, is a sentiment shared by. This is why I fucking hate Twitter. I swear to God. A sentiment shared by Ravelak Dreamblade, Herald of Chaos Undivided. Jesus Christ.
You could have just said at Ravelak.
No.
I want the world to know that someone thought that it was cool to have a name like that on Twitter.
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card name. No, not literally. It's like, that's the tier of name it is. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh card name.
Oh, I see. give me that slide for the executive producer.
But yeah, no, an important note is that it's not ending services, so you can still go online and play it for as long as Capcom will keep it up, and they're kind of like promising to keep it up for at least another year or so by the scenes of it.
You get 6 months. It's 6 months.
But like every month or two, they cycle what season you're playing in, so they're just going to go like, okay, now you're in season 1, 2 months pass. now season 2 content is available and you can work on that battle pass, and it'll keep cycling things over until like whenever the game ends.
See, Monster Hunter World did something similar. Once they reached the end of content roadmap for that game, they were like, yep, we're just going to cycle the seasonal stuff. And that works great in Monster Hunter, where it's a super popular game that a bunch of people are still playing. As we said earlier, there are like 20 people playing Exoprimal. Can you imagine, like, even half of them going, oh, I don't want to play this season. I'll see you guys next month.
But Patrick, that's exactly us. We can get in when the Monster Hunter season comes back around.
Oh, hold on. We could
and then while I work on the Street Fighter season, you'd leave me alone because you're not interested in that season.
And I'll be playing Sleet Fighter while trying not to click the play now button in Dota. Yeah, it's a shame, but it's also... Yeah.
It's nice to see that the game is still being serviced.
Lively. Yeah, it's one of those, like, you know, a company thinks that there's a massive amount of money to be made in a live service game. There probably is when they get it right, but if for whatever reason it doesn't catch on, this is the ultimate watery grave for live service games. This
is like the good ending for a live service game, because most of them are just like, yep, no, we're done, we're killing it now. You can't play it anymore.
Well, this is the good ending that it hasn't taken off. This is the good of the bad endings.
Yeah.
The good end, the like true good ending is fucking what, like Dota 2? No, like fucking Genshin Impact, where it makes so much money that they fund nuclear fusion research with it, which is still hilarious to me.
Got to fund something.
We've talked about this, Seth. Your silence is confusing me.
I'll continue to be silent then.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That's whatever. Speaking of things that are confusing, Sony Music Entertainment and a bunch of others is helping establish Palworld Entertainment, which is confusing for me because Palworld is not available on a Sony platform.
One of those other ones is Aniplex, which is also owned by Sony.
What are we doing, guys?
They're just jealous they missed the boat. They probably... Palworld went to Sony like last year and were like, can we please publish our game? And Sony was like, take a hike. So then they went to Xbox and they launched it on Game Pass, and I had like a gajillion
I think
players.
He's just taking the Genshin story and saying it happened to Palworld.
Pretty much.
Because I think the only reason it's not on PlayStation at the moment is because they don't do early access games. And Microsoft was like, we'll do early access.
Whoa. It's called Game Preview on Xbox. Please give
It's early access.
Look, and they did kind of hint that Palworld will be coming to Sony platforms, but like, who knows when
it reaches its 1.0 release, probably.
Which in this game, this company's never fucking made a game into 1.0, so it's never coming. Very funny.
That's true. Yeah.
I wonder if people could sue for that happening.
Here it fucking comes.
No, like, just the idea of, like, you're paying for early access in, like, it's kind of like a promise to release a 1.0 version, so if they don't release a 1.0, I wonder if those people that paid the money for early access can go, well, you didn't do the return on investment sort of thing.
I mean, there'd be something in, like, Steam TOS or something that would, like, say, like, hey, it's early access, it doesn't guarantee that the game's going to come out.
Yeah, I assume there's something like that.
Up.
Yeah.
But that's not going to. I don't think that's going to stop someone from trying.
No. But I imagine it's like a whole bunch of the people. Like every fucking week, you hear about someone on Kickstarter like not getting something that they backed, and they're like, "Well, I'm not going to get the thing I want to refund." And like, no. The point of Kickstarter is that it might fail, and it probably is a scam.
But yeah, more on topic is so Sony does like big power plays in the anime industry. Sony does big power plays in the anime industry. So it makes sense that they're like, you know what? We think that Palworld will take off if we do an anime. So make it happen.
And they're trying to make what's the snowman from Olaf? They're trying to make like Olaf version. What are we at, like 3 or 4 now? of let's just make a shit ton of merchandising and just watch it fly off the shelves. No, we disagree.
I don't know where you're going with that one.
Man.
Well, no, because like part of this is also like the commercial arms includes merchandise. I'm pretty sure. Am I crazy?
Oh.
I swear they're talking about merchandising in this as well. Yeah, global licensing and merchandising activities associated with Palworld.
Yeah, no, I missed that part. I was only interested in the anime part. But yeah, no, it's merchandising part. They're going to go for the Pikachu dolls, not the Olaf dolls.
No, but if they go too close to the Pikachu, then Nintendo gets closer to their release the lawyers button. It's like release the hounds, but people.
Yeah, Patrick, I need that to happen. I need that button to be pressed. I need to see that shit show.
It actually would be a shit show. They're fucking like the commercial rights lawyers arguing over like what a Pikachu is versus whatever the fuck. I don't even know half the fucking Palworld names.
They have a sheep on there that is almost literally a Wooloo.
It's on 2 legs. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, Wooloo is a sheep. What do you want me to say, man? Can we move on about this? Let's not do this again. Inspired by.
There is also a little fox there that looks almost exactly like Fennekin's final evolution.
I think the better one's the one that just straight up
Not
looks
even
like
close.
Lucario.
The one that looks like Lucario is very good. There's also the one that is Salazzle, but even more horny.
Oh, yeah. But let's move on. We don't need to do this again, all right?
No. Continue with how fuckable other Palworld creatures are, Seth.
No, that's literally what the Pokédex entry for it is. Sorry, Paldex entry. It literally says on there, this is Salazzle, but hornier.
Let's move on. I'm begging you.
Well, and moving on we shall to Sony Interactive talking about their China Joy 2024 lineup. Any highlights we want to hit out of this list?
I'll tell you what's a highlight that's not on this list. Where the fuck is Lost Solarcide? That was a game that was announced like, what was it, 7 years ago at this point? And at that point, it was just a single developer that was doing a concept trailer, so it didn't mean much. But then Sony was like, hey, we'll give you an entire team to make a game. And it was playable last year, and now it's missing. Where the fuck is that game, Sony?
That time that they got reincarnated as a slime, Isekai Chronicles. Fuck, why is that a game? Very strange.
Oh, that Rusty Rabbit game is going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, there's not a lot that like jumps up at me on this one. Like the ones that you'll most likely be getting a deep dive on are all the China Hero Projects games, which is like Sony's. They're pushing a lot of Chinese developers to make games for PlayStation, like trying to help support them. And this is like their time of year to showcase what they're all doing. So I'll be interested to see what they all do. But none of the names on here are anything that I really recognize.
Oh, because they're not good games.
Whoa, this guy.
Why aren't they good games, Stephen? Are you saying games from China aren't good?
No, I'm saying PlayStation games aren't good.
Yeah, but we already knew that.
Do they even have any games? How can they not have any good games if they don't have any games? That's all I'm saying.
I'm actually so annoyed because I was literally about to make that joke. I unmuted my microphone to go make that exact joke.
That'll teach you.
Cool. Well, good to move on.
Yeah, good to move on.
Sweet. Well, next up we have an interview with Nicolas. Could be Doucette, could be Doucet. Depends on how he wants his last name said. But from Team Asobi, the team behind Astrobot. And it's quite a cool interview. A few interesting nuggets of this. Really like honing in on their like core pieces of the gameplay that they want to focus on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, this was a neat interview. Yeah, like Patrick said, just excuse me, something got caught in my throat. Yeah, just some neat nuggets. Like
What'd you get caught in there?
something that I really appreciated was them saying they're going for like a 12 to 15 hour game instead of a 20 to 30 hour game, just so they thought like 20 to 30 hours was going to make it too long, like there's be a lot of unnecessary downtime. But the length they're going for will have a good tempo of like the levels will feel good, the tempo of like the game's pacing will feel good, and there won't be too much repetition with power ups that you can mess around with.
The bit where they put up all the Xboxes against the wall and then execute them prison style was kind of a weird choice to add to this game, but it might work out.
It was to prove that they didn't have the Astrobot inside them to help protect them.
It's true. The Astrobot walked in there, went to the 360 version, it did a spin and then walked out again.
They don't got that bot inside them.
All my homies hate love executing Xboxes in cold blood. Any highlights from the interview that you want to share, Seth? Actually, no. I'm pretty sure Steve read this interview. Any thoughts from you, Steve? What was your favorite part of this?
They said that
the true Astrobot were the friends we made along the way.
Nah, they said that the crossover with Fortnite is coming in the next 4 weeks. Should be very fun to see. But look forward to the full Astrobot game when it comes out in October. Is that what they said?
I think the game comes out in September.
Fuck.
You're a phony. I don't know if there's too much else you want to cover from that stuff. I think you covered the main parts.
Yeah, just its game length and the repetition of the power-ups was neat. I also kind of like the points that they made of, yeah, we did some game testing and a lot of like hardcore platformer players were like, yeah, this is a little bit too easy. So they took some levels to the side and cranked them up to be like side challenges for people that are really into platforming games and difficulty. Just so that way the main scenario was like, it's comfortable and easy for families and kids, but if you're a sicko, there's something to sink your teeth into.
But if you really feel like not touching grass for a bit. Very cool. Right, well, I guess we are going to move on from that one. Nintendo releasing an Emio teaser trailer. Nintendo scares me when they put things out like this. I should also say up front that Emio is it's called Emio, but in Japanese the video is titled The Smiling Man, and it's a man which looks like a cheap marshmallow ripoff with a bag over his head with a smiley face scratched onto it. But yeah, what the hell, Nintendo?
Yeah, it's very weird for Nintendo to go the route of, hey, we're going to do something horror related.
Boo! That's what Nintendo's doing right now.
I think the most horrible part is that they announced that Chris Pratt was the voice actor.
Oh, no.
And he's behind you. He's behind you right now. Turn around. Actual cannibal Chris Pratt. Yeah. There isn't really much info to speak of with this, so any other bits that you want to mention?
Nah, I don't think there's anything worth mentioning.
Oh no, just surprising that the Switch is like, 13 million years old, and they're like, you know what? New series.
Oh,
Another
I get it.
one.
The horror. I get it. The horror is the performance.
Well, playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, what performance? But if you're playing Pokemon Skull and Violet,
the true Nintendo horror game. Play it in handheld mode. GG, have fun. Good to move on?
Good to move on.
Steve, I need you to say it.
It.
Holy shit, he said it. Fucking madman. I don't know how to tell you this, but the it that you just said refers to Microsoft. Microsoft is reportedly looking to stop marketing Xbox consoles in select EMEA markets. How are we feeling, Steve?
Well, I'm not Steve, but this is really sad to see. Like, They're just giving up in certain territories if this ends up being true. The rumor is that they're going to stop marketing their consoles and just focus on marketing Game Pass and cloud gaming and their controllers.
It's also very interesting as well. Don't forget how Xbox or Microsoft in general is pivoting to having like
Amazon
Xbox
Fire
apps
Sticks
on smart TVs. Oh yeah, that too. So like you won't need a console anymore, which is kind of the.
Do you think the next console is their last one?
If there is an next console, let's be real. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. Like if they'll or it'll be some weird hybrid. It's got 1 megabyte of storage. You have to stream everything, which makes it essentially a big stick. Realistically, it wouldn't be. I would not be surprised if their last console, if their next console was the last one. Or even if it's, I don't know. Too early to say, and who fucking knows what's going on with Xbox anymore, but you just gotta start releasing some good games, fellas.
I was going to say, aren't they still reeling from how shitty Halo Infinite has become? I don't know what was the right word there.
Still seething about that.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the docket, but there's also rumors that 343 is being taken off developing Halo and they're just going to oversee the series.
Going to the
Call of Duty. I thought they basically confirmed that when they gutted the studio like 6 months ago, a year ago.
Yeah, but they're always gutting that studio because they only hire contractors. They don't hire actual like full-time employees.
They don't hire real people.
I wasn't going that direction.
You've got to remember with Halo, Halo Infinite especially, they had like a 10-year plan for whatever that game was supposed to be. Like it was supposed to be the big live service game that was going to keep injecting money into like the Xbox brand for so long, and because
it was also meant to be there at launch.
Exactly, it was supposed to be there at launch, and they
with
fumbled
screen,
it.
am I right, fellas?
Yeah, no one cares. But with that advertisement, there was that Craig Gorilla thing.
That wasn't an advertisement. That was people making fun of it, and they decided, yeah, no, we're going to jump into this meme and make fun of it ourselves.
No, but like that trailer was the one that like shelved it for an extra year, or was part of the reason that they decided to shelve it for a year. And then it came out. It was pretty rough on launch.
No, everyone said that the multiplayer was great.
The multiplayer was like okay. It was because it went free to play. Everyone went a bit weird about that, and it took them about a month to kind of balance things correctly and to kind of fix a bunch of things because I think it got a bit too.
It was also very slow in updating the game. Like it didn't.
Yeah, that was another thing as well.
It felt good, but there wasn't a lot there at launch. Like there wasn't a lot of maps or game modes, and it took them a long time to add more maps and more game modes.
That's what I was going to say is that everyone was like, "Wow, the multiplayer is actually really good." And then the full game comes out, and they were like, "So where's the multiplayer update?"
Where's the co-op in the story?
What do you mean? This is it. And everyone goes, "Oh fuck." So you're saying I need to get 17 turret kills to level up my battle pass?
I got that battle pass. I fully leveled it when, and like how they dealt out rewards and stuff, in the first couple of seasons was a bit weird. Like it incentivized you to kind of play like 4 games and then no more. And I was like, okay, I played my 4 games, putting the controller down. But yeah.
Yeah. Well.
We hate
interesting.
Anyway, so who cares?
True. And the double whammy of Xbox news. Steve, are you sitting down? I need you to be sitting down, buddy.
I'm sitting down.
Cool. Well, Game Pass price increases.
Not surprised, to be honest. Not surprised.
They said they wouldn't.
They did drop $80 billion.
They said they wouldn't increase it as a result of the Activision Blizzard buyout. And as far as I can read,
well.
As far as I read, they have
been
not
long
put that
enough
as the blame.
since that buyouts for that to not be the reason.
The price of everything's going up. Inflation. Matt Booty earning like $13 billion a second. Sarah Bond also probably earns a gajillion dollars.
I'm thinking of that fucking 4chan green text of like be Xbox, buy a be an Xbox, don't have any games, buy a studio, studio releases games, close studio, don't release any more games. What business strategy is this?
Also,
it's pretty much that.
Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, like just going off like a calculations base of what Phil Spencer's game plan was at the start of the generation of him saying we want one major game release every season. So let's say that's one $70 game releasing every 3 months. Game Pass Ultimate is slowly approaching that point where it's going to be not valuable enough to players. I think the price I went with is like once it passes $23 a month, it's actually a worse deal for people. Well, not a worse deal for people, but if you're only there for like the one,
but there's no advantage
Xbox game a season, you're paying for that essentially.
Yeah. Well, because part of it, they bought out Activision Blizzard and then said, hey guys, COD's going to be on Game Pass. And now everyone said, you literally have a cash cow. There's no point putting it on Game Pass because people, even if it's not on Game Pass, will buy it because it's a COD game that comes out once every year anyway.
Yeah, it's a financial detriment to add it to Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like, no, we'll put it on Game Pass. And now they've said that they'll put it on Game Pass, and they're like, hey, we need everyone to reach real deep into their pockets and just give us an extra couple bucks.
Also, hey, this kind of goes against their promise for Call of Duty on Game Pass because they're scrapping Game Pass for console, which is the one that they said, hey, the Call of Duty story mode is going to be included with this on day one. So they scraps that, and now they're introducing Game Pass Standard, which is no longer promising day one games.
Look, I hate to break this to you, Steph, but I don't think you should trust the word of $1 billion company, man.
I was going to say, well, Seth, when you purchase an $80 billion game studio, you can decide how to monetize your Game Pass.
I'm not saying that I believe them. I'm not buying into Game Pass. I'm just pointing out, hey, they said that Call of Duty was going to come on this tier of Game Pass, and oh, look at that, they scraps that tier.
But they also did that stupid thing of like, okay, so you want to play Call of Duty with your friends on Game Pass. Well, what part of Call of Duty do you want to play? Because if it's these parts, you have to be on these Game Passes.
Yeah, it's like Game Pass Core, which is essentially Xbox Live Gold. That was, hey, you'll get the multiplayer for free with this one. And it's like, hey, if you've got Game Pass for console, which is just like Game Pass, then you get the story mode. And if you get Game Pass Ultimate, then you get the whole package. It was like a weird Frankensteining tiering of the game.
And everyone watching this was like, can't I just pay the $70 for the disc?
You can on PlayStation.
Wait, that's right. This is one that PlayStation still gets, right? And then
they still get Call of Duty for like another 10 years thanks to Jim Ryan.
I thought he looked at that deal and went, nah, I'd rather get the like other lesser known IP.
No. The original deal was Call of Duty for 5 years and all other Activision games, or just Call of Duty is promised for 10 years.
Ah, that's what it was. Yes, you're right.
And Call of Duty is a big money maker, so he went, yeah, no, we're guaranteeing Call of Duty for 10 years. If it survives that long.
It will.
Watch them kill the franchise and rebrand it to like Gun Game or something.
Death, taxes, and Call of Duty.
Anyway, any final word on the Game Pass price increase, Steve?
I still love Game Pass. Fuck you. I've still got it from Turkey. I still have like a year or two left, I think. And I know they're going to stop the stacking of Game Pass. I'm still going to buy it from Turkey. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I was going to say if people want to stack up on Game Pass, do it now because by September they won't let you stack more than 13 months of it. So if you want to stack like 3 years worth of it, then do that now.
I just love how all of the shit-eating grins that people had for like, oh well, PlayStation Plus is going up in price, and everyone's like, yeah, no, we hate it, but we have no alternative. And now it's like,
well, Game Pass.
Game Pass is more expensive.
If Game Pass is better, it's got better games.
Meanwhile, Nintendo Switch Online. Hey, do you have a phone to like speak to your friends with? Oh, you do? Cool. Well, it's only $20 to like play online then.
If you give us 50, we'll let you play Perfect Dark, but it's broken.
It's like a weird reverse bartering thing. I can pay 20. How about you pay 30, 40, 50 and the game doesn't work? Deal.
They've got like Earthbound. They've got Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 for whatever reason. Still no Pokemon either Gen 1 or Gen 2 games. Anyway, let's move on. There's no need to languish at Nintendo as we always do.
Very true, Steve. Very true. Well, that finally brings us to the end of the news section for this week. And with that, we're actually at the end of the episode. Shock and horror. That's right. That's
a short one this week.
116 always is. Episode 116 done. If you have liked what you've heard, any kind of interaction or feedback is always very helpful, very useful. Anything you want to tease for next week? Next episode, rather?
Dungeons of Hinterberg. That comes out tomorrow. No, Thursday. Yeah, that should be fun.
I have no clue. I promise nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. And I have the Monster Hunter Now event on the weekend, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, you're going to get a bunch of people together to play and hang out.
I have no friends that play it.
Should have just
that
friends, but anyway.
Absolutely cracked person on my friends list from work, who is not at my work. They just either played or spoofed near my work enough that we added each other as friends. And just because I don't want to seem desperate, they added me. So, make of that what you will. Right. I think that's it. Oh, of course, the social plugs. We're on what the fuck is it, Twitter, x.com, at FastTravelLounge -1 of the L's. Good old mailbag, fasttravellounge@gmail.com. fasttravellounge.bluesky.social, or whatever the hell that one is. And Fasttravellounge just on good old Book of Faces. But thank you.
That.
Oh yeah? You and what army?
Isn't that a You and What Army? Yeah, it's a Foo Fighters song. That's it.
Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing that, Steve.
Anytime.
Well,
it always has been.
As I say, end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Patrick. I've been joined by Seth and Steve, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Happy birthday, half marathons.